pop up there on just the previous scan. It was a little weaker, and then you see those dark blues pop up again. That's debris. That's things being lofted into the air. So that's a good indication. It's a guarantee at this point. We've got a tornado on the ground doing damage. This is now east of the city of Tishomingo in Tishomingo County. This is moving through Tishomingo State Park, and it's going to cross the Natchez Trace Parkway, probably a little bit north of the community of Minot. If you are watching us and you live anywhere near Maud Road, Buddy Durham Road, the Natchez Trace Parkway on the western side of Calvert County, you've got to get in your safe place now. Anybody on the western side of Calvert County needs to be in their safe place, but particularly near Minot and Maud, Allsboro, you need to be in your safe place right now. That is you're not going to get a better signature of a tornado on the ground doing damage than that right there. And again, that blue that you're seeing there, and we'll circle this for you, that is debris. That's trees and potentially other things, pieces of roofs. We don't know what that is, but it's something that's not rain and not hail that's in the air right now being lofted by this tornado. And when you get those deeper blues like that, that's a better indication that the tornado is doing more substantial damage. Jason?
Right. Do you know how high the debris is being lofted yet, Alex?
Yeah, I was trying to work on that. And
okay, while you're doing that, just leave his mic up, and he'll look for that while we're talking more about.
We're over 10,000 feet.
Over 10,000 feet. Typically, if you get above 10,000 feet with debris, you're talking about a very strong tornado that could be EF2, EF3, and if you've got an EF2 or an EF3 tornado, that is nothing to laugh at whatsoever. Allsboro Road, Petertown, Burnstown, Mingo Road, wants you in your safe place. Maud Road, you see Burnstown and Maud right there. That curve right there, you go through the Maud community, come around to Burnstown, Allsboro Road, then turns into Petertown Road. So the tornado is near Petertown and Burnstown. The one problem in using radar, and this is the newest scan, so that tornado is now in northwest Alabama. The one problem with using radar is that we see the broad circulation. We don't know how big the tornado itself might be, but that is likely it right now. There is a tornado down on the ground moving into Allsboro that will be close to, or Burnstown, moving toward Maud Road. This may be just a little south of Allsboro, but if you are there, you are too close for comfort, and you need to be in your safe place. And I'll say this, when we start calling out roads, just because we don't call out one that's close by doesn't mean that's not a part of the warning too. If we could possibly list off every point on the map, we would. It's just not feasible to be able to do that. So understand, we're talking in some general areas here. Burnstown, then out Maud Road, Burns Road, White Pike Road, which curves around this way just west of the Coondog Cemetery. If you are in this part of Calvert County, this is a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning, and you have got to take it seriously. All the way over to Hawk Pride Mountain, the community of Red Rock, and then farther to the east. This goes all the way up to Highway 72. Barton and Cherokee are in the warning. We haven't talked much about you. You got the notification on Live Alert 19. The tornado is a little south of you. If we were to take a measurement here and go from, say, right at Barton on Highway 72, the tornado is about 13 miles to the southwest. In my opinion, it's too close for comfort. If you're in that box, you need to be in your safe place right now. If you had the severe thunderstorm warning, but you didn't get a tornado warning, you still need to probably be in that safe place too, even as far to the east as the south end of Tuscumbia, Calvert Heights, Littleville. Still a very strong indication of rotation here in Calvert County. The signature on the reflectivity does not look classic. That's because this thing is circulating rain all around it. It's completely wrapped in rain like a shower curtain being pulled around a shower. If you're trying to see it, odds are you're not going to be able to see it. Let's go to Alex.
Jason, just wanted to chime in. The debris signature now up to 17,000 feet. So again, this is about as good an indication you can get solely from radar that you can get, that this is a strong tornado doing significant damage, crossing into western Cherokee County now near Allsboro, Minot, and Maud. If you are watching us in one of those communities, your life is in danger. You need to get to a safe place now. It's the lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows. Mobile homes are not a safe place. A car is not a safe place. You need to be in either a storm shelter, a basement, or in the center room of the lowest floor of a site-built structure. That's going to be in your house. That's going to be something typically like a bathroom or a closet, and that's where you need to get right now. And that's going to extend for folks all through western Calvert County, but the immediate danger is Allsboro, Minot, and Maud. If you are watching us there, you need to get in your safe place now. Jason?
All right, thanks, Alex. So storm debris being lofted up to 17,000 feet in the storm. We have a storm chaser, professional storm chaser on this, who says a very large, roughly half-mile wide tornado came out of Tishomingo and is moving into Calvert County. Since that report, it is squarely in Calvert County, right over Minot. So if you are in Minot, Coondog Cemetery area, Highway 247, Hawk Pride Mountain, I want you down low. If you can get underground, get underground. A storm cellar, a basement. If you're in a mobile home and you're out here around Hawk Pride Mountain, you've got to get out of that and get into a substantial shelter. Alex?
Weather Service now going with tornado emergency for the community of Minot, Maud, and Red Rock. Is a particularly dangerous situation. So tornado emergency is the last bullet in the gun, so to speak. That's the strongest language that we have as to what's going on. This is likely a violent tornado in western Calvert County. Jason?
All right, and a tornado emergency. We have not had one of those around here since, I believe, 2014. Back on April 28th, 2014, when we had our last round of very, very strong tornadoes in a high-risk kind of environment. Technically, we don't have a high risk today, but right now, Minot, near the Natchez Trace Parkway, a violent, potentially violent tornado is on the ground in Calvert County, Alabama right now, and it's moving to the northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So I'm going to show you the storm track on it, and we're going to pull it all the way out. There's some communities that are not technically under the warning that are going to be brought into this storm track here. Calvert Heights, Muscle Shoals, Leeton, Littleville. You are still a long way away from this storm, but you need a tap on the shoulder right now to let you know what's happening here. Now, that fan is very, very wide out here past Red Rock and out toward Muscle Shoals. So it's not going to hit Florence. It's not likely to hit Littleville. It's certainly north of Russellville. But that storm is producing a tornado right now that could be a life-threatening emergency. In fact, it is a life-threatening emergency. You could be facing one of the most serious tornadoes we've had in North Alabama in a long, long time in Calvert County right now. Tornado warning in effect until 6 o'clock. I have no doubt that this will be extended. You look to the west of there, southeast of Booneville, Mississippi. There's another similar looking storm. Another one close to Saltillo, Mississippi, north of Tupelo, a very similar looking storm. So we've got them lined up in the gun here, and the bullets are being fired this direction. I want to back out here for just a moment and show you where this is relative to the rest of the Tennessee Valley region. Huntsville, Decatur, Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Albertville. We have no danger right now, but there is a tornado watch in effect for all of us until 10 o'clock. And although we are focused on northwest Alabama right now because of the emergency situation in Calvert County, our time is coming down the line. And when we get there, we'll focus on the other areas. But for right now, this is our primary concern. Calvert County, Lauderdale County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning, but in Calvert County right now near Minot, Highway 247, that's up next. Coondog Cemetery, 247, Rattlesnake Saloon to Red Rock, up to Highway 72, over to Calvert Heights. Tornado emergency in effect. That is the highest level statement that we can give to tell you how dangerous this situation is. That's the tornado velocity right there, the radar velocity. And there really seem to be two areas of rotation here that have been born out of this one. It doesn't look as intense now on this particular radar image, and I only say that from an analytical standpoint. It very well may be that the tornado is down, continuing to do damage close to Minot, but the wind field here, 58 miles per hour away, and then towards, you've got close to, let's pull that off there, close to about 10 miles per hour. So the shear in the overall picture of the storm here is not quite what it was but it's still a very dangerous situation. Alex, I want to go back over to you. You've still got that tornado debris signature pulled up. Let us know what you're seeing, the height, and an update on what's happening in National Weather Service chat.
Yeah, it's still got good height to it. It may be broadening out some, which would potentially be a good sign, but I want to stress that folks need to stay in their safe place because, quite frankly, the circulation, while it does not look as incredibly impressive as it did a minute ago, still looks as good as it did when they issued the tornado warning. Again, I just got a picture in that someone sent in to me, and I don't think we're going to be able to clear it for TV, unfortunately, but it was a large tornado that was coming out of Tishomingo County. And again, that tornado emergency continues. As far as NWS chat, the only thing of note at this point is that we have to watch another cell that is in Prentiss County, Mississippi, where this one just came from, that is showing some signs of circulation. No warning on that right now, to my knowledge, but Prentiss County and Northern Lee County still in Mississippi. Those cells would continue to track back into northwest Alabama. So this is not going to be the only storm of the day. This is the first storm of the day for us here in northwest Alabama. And again, that signature is still very impressive at this point. I'm going to switch back over to analysis. And again, Jason, you see what I'm talking about there, that the debris signature is starting to spread out. It's not a guarantee, but sometimes that happens when the tornado lifts and the debris sort of spreads out from where the tornado was. We hope that's what's happening right now, but that is not something we can guarantee. If you are watching us in Cherokee, if you are watching us in Red Rock, we need you to be in your safe place and treat this thing like it is still on the ground, because it could be, and if it's not, it could be within the next minute. So continue to treat this thing incredibly seriously. Jason?
Right. Got a report that the Dollar General in Tishomingo has been hit. There are some injuries in Tishomingo County. All that is unconfirmed from emergency management right now, but radio is reporting out of Tishomingo County that there are injuries and some folks may have been hurt at the Dollar General in the Tishomingo community. This is a high precipitation supercell. It is raining like crazy around this circulation. It doesn't look like your classic tornado event that you would find in a textbook, especially now that everyone's homeschooling. If you're doing severe weather in your school and you look up tornado on a radar indicated tornado, you're not going to see something that looks like this blob. This is not a classic Oklahoma or Texas or Kansas kind of storm. This is very much a high precipitation southern storm, a Dixie Alley kind of storm. And the rotation, while it's still broad, right over the Coondog Cemetery to Highway 247, Red Rock, Hawk Pride. Given the history of this, I want you in a safe place right now. And you may be asking, well, what is my safe place? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Where do you go if a tornado is coming? The safest place is obviously a basement. That's number one, and a basement that's away from windows. You want to be able to get as low as you can and as interior as you can. Underneath a stairwell, a closet, or a bathroom, even in the basement, is going to be a better option than the upstairs. Let's go to Alex real quick, and we'll come back to this. Alex?
Jason, just want to point out that we've got a report from the Mount Hester community in western Calvert County. Power is out, and debris is falling out of the sky. So this was likely a violent tornado.
Yeah, that's downstream from where the tornado would have been. So we've likely got some strong wind ahead of this. Debris is falling. Even if the tornado is not hitting where you are, you need to be indoors. Don't be out looking for this. We think back to April 27th when there were blue jeans from the Wrangler plant in Hackleburg that were dropping over Limestone County. This debris can be dangerous, and often, since it's been lofted so high, it could be covered in ice. So what might be a stick that weighs a few ounces now might have a pound of ice on it. So it's like a huge hailstone falling out of the sky. Interior room, lowest floor of a site-built structure, not a mobile home. We often talk about mobile homes. It's a fine place to live. It is a terrible place to seek refuge in a severe weather situation. I think, if anything, Alex, this might be reforming to the south. That may be the original circulation that's kind of peeling off to the north. This southern circulation appears to be taking over, and that's a little bit closer to the Coondog Cemetery in southern Calvert County. So I want to zoom in very close on this. This is all going to be west of Highway 43, Highway 247, and west of Highway 43, but right over the Coondog Cemetery. You can see Coondog Cemetery Road curving around right here. The tornado would be near White Pike Road and Coondog Cemetery Road right now, tracking east. It's less than 5 minutes away from Alabama Highway 247 in the Newsom Springs community. If you're around Jones Road, Highway 247, or any point in between here, I want you to be in a safe place. We're also going to zoom in here and look at some of the road names that pop on for us. This road in Calvert County, I'm having trouble getting close enough to actually see the name. That looks like Wagnon Mountain Road right there. So Wagnon Mountain Road. I want you to be in a safe place. I want to zoom way out and then come back into it. So severe weather is happening in Calvert County only right now in North Alabama. This is a Calvert County problem. A tornado warning is in effect until 6 o'clock here, and it's been a tornado emergency because there's a potentially violent tornado that has come out of Tishomingo County into Calvert County. Alex.
Just wanted to point out that for those who are watching in Franklin County, I want you to be aware that there is a new severe thunderstorm warning to your immediate west. That's going to be for Lee County, Itawamba County, Prentiss, and Tishomingo County in the southern end. That's that storm right here, a storm that has shown some weak rotation near Saltillo. And in fact, we have, I'm going to pull this up over here. We have, this is the view of it right now from Saltillo. This is from Mississippi Department of Transportation, and that is the view of that storm there. So we're going to watch that as well. That will be approaching Franklin County if this holds together. And again, the environment we've got today is just, we've seen what it can do. So if you're watching us in Franklin County, you're watching us towards Red Bay right now, just be aware that that storm's to your west and be prepared to take action if you need to. But Jason, we still got the tornado warning in Calvert County. Signature not as good as it once was, but there's still some rotation there, and we could see another tornado develop anytime.
All right, the reports that we're getting out of northeast Mississippi from Tishomingo County, they are not good. There has been a very large tornado that hit Tishomingo County that has moved into Calvert County. The tornado warning is in effect for Calvert County until 6 p.m. So that's another 5 minutes. I imagine it's going to be extended. I still see plenty of reason to believe a tornado could be down there, although it's not as intense of a circulation as it was. The storm overall has a little bit of a different look. But here's the shear rate, and it's still pretty high. And we don't have that classic S shape to it, but you can see there's almost a donut there. Sometimes when we see the shape of that shear rate change, that can also be an indication as to what's happening. So regardless of a tornado, there may be some very high wind here that's coming along with what we call the rear flank downdraft. That's where the wind bumps up against the back of the thunderstorm and then just descends straight down toward the ground. It's a strong downburst. That can get over 70 or 80 miles per hour too. So even if the tornado has lifted, I still think there's plenty of room for what might be some significant wind damage here. Looking down toward western Franklin County, as we were talking about with Alex, the severe weather threat hasn't quite made it into Franklin County just yet. This is all in Calvert County. The tornado warning is for Calvert. There's a severe thunderstorm warning, excuse me, that also goes up into Lauderdale County. And look at this. Look coming into Calvert Heights. That is extremely heavy rain. Let's look at our Florence camera. We'll look from McFarland Park in Florence and check out the view down toward the south. The temperature is down to 69 with a west-southwest wind at 4. But this number is impressive for early March, well, mid to late March here. 65-degree dew point. We've got rain falling. It's falling basically straight down in Florence, but it is not doing that to the southwest in Calvert County. South of Red Rock now, just north of Crooked Oak, Alabama Highway 247. There is a tornado very near Highway 247 that is tracking to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. Let's put a storm track on it so that you can see where it's going. And this is going to be the approximate path of this. Tell you what, let's do one thing here. Instead of putting it on the reflectivity, I want to use the storm relative velocity and then the shear rate to identify by the point where the tornado would be. Now, we'll track this out at a rate of a little more than 40 miles per hour. So you can see out here toward Tishomingo, 617. Now you're on the north side of it in Tishomingo, which is not typically where the tornado would be, but there may be some strong wind and some hail. Muscle Shoals would be closer to 620. Leeton, 628. Ford City, 631. Neesmith, Wolf Springs, those communities are in Lawrence County at 635. The Bethel community, that's in far southeastern Calvert County, far southeastern Calvert at about 6:35 p.m. too. So out here around Town Creek, this is going to be closer to 645 or maybe 650, getting all the way to you over northern Lawrence County. The shear rate still pretty high. It doesn't look quite as organized as it did, which is encouraging, but I still think there's certainly reason to believe a tornado could be down on the ground. And you can see now we are actually presenting a little bit better in the reflectivity. We've got more of that classic hook echo looking shape here, where the rotation is here in the clear spot, so to speak. We call that a weak echo region, where the rain is being kept aloft, but rain is being pulled around it like this. So I still think there's plenty of evidence here to suggest a tornado could be on the ground near Highway 247 in southern Calvert County, and it is tracking just to the east, Hawk Pride Mountain Off-Road Park, down toward Crooked Oak. Over eastward into Calvert Heights, U.S. Highway 43 is right there, Littleville up to Muscle Shoals. I would suggest no one needs to be driving on U.S. 43 right now in Calvert County. Highway 247 is definitely out. You have large hail around Red Rock, and then here, look at this, it's ramping up again. That circulation is getting tighter and tighter. That's the velocity product. The winds that are outbound, away from the radar, 77 miles per hour. Moving just like that. Behind this, the inbound wind is not going to look as impressive because the storm is moving away from it. It's saying 1 mile per hour this way, 77 miles per hour that way. Not exactly how it works. That's where we can use storm relative velocity. You've got 30 miles per hour versus 45 miles per hour, and you add those two together, and that's roughly 75 miles per hour worth of shear. Let's go to Alex.
We've got a public report of a funnel cloud on Highway 247 near Fawn Lake. So I think that would make sense based on what we're seeing here. And again, it does look like that might be tightening up. There is no formal warning yet, but if you are watching us near Littleville, start thinking about what you're going to do if you're placed in that warning, because this thing may be headed your way. Same goes for Calvert Heights. We don't want anybody traveling on Highway 43 right now, really anywhere around the shoals. I would say from Russellville to Florence, it's not a good idea to be on the road, but particularly from around Muscle Shoals, Calvert Heights, and Littleville. Nobody needs to be on Highway 43 there, and obviously nobody on Highway 247 right now around Red Rock back down south to the Calvert-Franklin County line. We don't want anybody on the roads there either. The circulation passing, Jason, as you said, south of Red Rock, it has crossed Highway 247 now. And, you know, this may have a little bit, just looking at it, of a right turn yet again. And when these things turn a little bit of right, a little bit to the right of the mean flow, how the rest of the storms are flowing, that can be an indication starting to spin up again. And again, we've seen that circulation tighten up a little bit more now east of Highway 247, south of Red Rock. So again, if you are watching us in southeastern Calvert County, be aware that this is still an issue, and this may warrant a new warning downstream if it continues to tighten up. Jason? And
regardless of a warning, Calvert Heights, Littleville, over toward Old Bethel, Leeton, I want you to go ahead and be in a safe place. If you live in a mobile home in southeastern Calvert County, I want you to go ahead and go and seek shelter right now, because that is a very dangerous looking thunderstorm. It has all the hallmarks that you look for with a tornado. It might not be the same large, destructive kind of tornado that crossed the state line, but if you're in a mobile home, it doesn't take the big ones. It's the small ones that can do the most damage in a mobile home area that don't do much damage elsewhere. You see them knocking trees down in some communities, but it gets to a mobile home and the wind gets under it, picks it up, tosses it, and it's not a good place to be. So if you're in a mobile home in southeastern Calvert County, even though there's not a tornado warning yet, I want you to be in a safe place right now. Alex, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out, and this is the last thing we want to see, new severe thunderstorm warning for essentially the same spots in parts of Prentiss and Tishomingo counties. And that storm showing some broad rotation. The issue the reason for the warning is going to be the potential for large hail and damaging straight line winds. That tornado or that storm is going to come really, really close to, or maybe just a little bit south of where the first storm went. So if you are watching us in Minot and southwestern Calvert County, northwestern Franklin County, be aware that that storm is organizing and is headed your way and may require action later. Of course, we got that severe thunderstorm that's pushing into Itawamba County, Mississippi, and then we've got the tornado warned storm still in Calvert, Jason. But we do have storms back to the south and west that are intensifying.
Right, and a tornado warning is forthcoming from Calvert County. It may include parts of Lawrence County soon. That's coming out in just a moment. We'll see what the Weather Service does with it. But tornado warning soon to be issued for the rest of Calvert County. That's why a few moments ago I said if you live in a mobile home around Leeton or Littleville or Old Bethel, even toward Neesmith or Wolf Springs in western Lawrence County, this thing does not show any signs of slowing down. It may cycle. It may go through a period where it's not as intense, but it is not showing signs of dissipating. So in eastern Calvert County, western Lawrence County, I want you to be in a safe place. In fact, there it is. There's your new tornado warning, 6:45 p.m. Western Lawrence. This might include, there might be a few Live Alert 19s on the county line with Lauderdale County that might have been triggered here, but I don't think there's a square inch of Lauderdale County that's in that warning. This is all Calvert, and it does include the city of Muscle Shoals and the city of Tuscumbia. The tornado is just a little southwest of Tuscumbia right now. It's not far off. We had a report of a funnel cloud on Frankfort Road. So from downtown Muscle Shoals, the possible tornado would be about 12 miles southwest of, say, Muscle Shoals High School or Avalon Avenue at Highway 43. So look at that, 12 miles away, too close for comfort. If you're within 5 or 10 miles of one of these things, you need to be inching toward that safe place. But if you're in Calvert Heights right now, Calvert Heights High School, if your students go to Calvert Heights in that school district, I'm talking to you, not just the city of Calvert Heights, the Calvert Heights area. A tornado has been confirmed with this storm several times. We don't know that it's still down right now, but there is certainly reason to believe that it is based on the velocity display and based on what we're seeing with reflectivity. It might not be as intense as it was, but if I'm around Calvert Heights, White Oak, over to Neesmith, Hatton, Town Creek in western Lawrence County, I want you in a safe place right now. And we've called out some of these communities so many times over the years that I know it almost seems like old hat, but this is a very, very serious thunderstorm. It has produced some injuries and significant damage in Tishomingo County. We will be waiting to hear. Hopefully, we don't have any injuries from this out around Minot or Allsboro, but it is it was a very impressive storm as it moved into western Calvert County. Here's the storm track. We'll pull it northeast at just under 50 miles per hour. That'll get it close to the Limestone County line out here toward the end of this, but you can see the Rogersville area. 643. You're going to catch the northern end of this, which is coming through Florence right now. That's not the severe part. So just because your name is here doesn't mean you're necessarily in the tornado warning. In fact, I'm going to squeeze that fan down just a little bit because we have a pretty good beat on the motion here. It's not really moving quite as erratically as some storms can in the past. So we're going to reduce the fan just a bit and put on some of the cities to get it out farther in the distance. So Calvert Heights, you got 6 minutes before this thing is right there at Calvert Heights High School. Leeton, 624. If you're out around Brickhattan School, the Brickhattan community into Lawrence County too. North Cortland, 637. Rogersville, 643. Town Creek, 632. Hillsboro, 647. I think this is a much more likely track than for it to go outside that. So Lauderdale County, you're going to get rain, but the severe part of this is to the south. Lawrence County, south of Moulton, you're going to be okay from this one. The tornado warning is northwest of Moulton. So let's go in close here. I want to kind of analyze this from a perspective of looking in very, very closely. Little Egypt Bear Creek. Now, this is not the Marion County Bear Creek. This is Calvert County. White House Springs, Calvert Heights, Blue Road, Cook Lane, U.S. Highway 43. We've already said it, but don't be traveling on U.S. Highway 43. The danger is now over from this storm in Red Rock and Hawk Pride Mountain, Hawk Pride Community, Alabama 247. But look, to the northwest, there's another severe storm that is trying to get its act together. We've got one down around Belmont. We've also got this heavy storm that's approaching Red Rock, passing just south of Cherokee. And by the way, if you're in Minot right now, the tornado threat is past you for the moment. And we're very careful to say that for the moment, you're still under a tornado watch until 10 o'clock or until the National Weather Service clears you. Just because you've had one storm come by does not mean the threat is over. So Calvert Heights, Littleville, you're in the path of a dangerous storm. The storm that's close to Belmont, Pogo, new site. That's going to be coming towards you. Might not have a tornado with it, but it could have some hail and some high wind. And then there's another storm down just to the northwest of Fulton that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it that will affect western Franklin County. So a tornado is expected out of this storm that is south of Tuscumbia and Muscle Shoals. Although Tuscumbia and Muscle Shoals are in the tornado warning, the tornadic part of the storm is likely going to be south of U.S. Highway 72. So between Highway 72 and the county line, from Muscle Shoals, Highway 72 down 43 to Littleville. You need to be in a safe place. Calvert Heights, we've been saying this for a while now. You got to get to a safe place. Let's go in close on Calvert Heights again. The tornado would be right back here, just around the Underwood Heights to Lime Rock to Bear Creek Community, moving toward White House Springs, Cook Lane, Spring Valley, 3 Mile Lane, LaGrange Road. Those communities are the ones that would be most impacted by a possible tornado here. You can see Ligon Springs, Lime Rock. This may be a tad north of there, but if I'm in Ligon Springs, I'm going to go ahead and be in my safe place. Around New Bethel, the tornadic part of the storm is moving east of you, but there are still more storms to the west, and we'll look at these very quickly. I don't see any circulation there close to Coondog Cemetery. So if you've been in that safe place on Highway 247, you may come out now, but don't go too far from it because we still potentially have more storms coming. That's our circulation near Crooked Oak. It is moving to the east fairly rapidly. In fact, this has been one of those storms that cycles a bit. One rotation is up here close to Calvert Heights. I think a new one might be developing a little farther south. So you've got potentially what might be 2 tornadoes here. One that's just west of Calvert Heights High School, another one that's just north of Crooked Oak. These are very, very rapidly changing storms. They can change shapes and change forms very quickly. The shear rate on this is not as high as it was. That's encouraging, but that does not mean it's over. And look at this. There's the shear path on this. Check that out. This is where it started, east of Booneville, Mississippi. That was the strongest point coming right through Tishomingo, where we know that there have been some reports of injuries at the Dollar General in Tishomingo. Then it came into Minot. The first tornado may have dissipated. A second one has likely developed here, and that one is going to come somewhere between Calvert Heights and Littleville. But in Calvert Heights and in Littleville, I want you to be in your safe place. We'll put the reflectivity back on here. That's the tornado right there. I'm going to track it for you. Pull it all the way out across Lawrence County. You're going to see a few Limestone County cities come on here potentially, like Coxey and Blue Springs Park, Caddo into Lawrence County, Lucy's Branch, 646. The northern and the southern parts of this, you can cut those off. This is really going to come right down the middle. Almost like throwing a strike right down the middle. Cortland over to Trinity. This is going to jump on Highway 20 and come pretty close to a lot of the communities that are on 20 through northern Lawrence County. So be aware. There's a tornado warning for the Hillsborough area, for the Town Creek area, for Red Bank. North Cortland, you're awfully close to that. There might be some communities around Cortland that are in, some that are out. It depends on where you sit geographically to that line. So although the city of Cortland itself might not be in, you might consider yourself a member of the Cortland community. And some of you are under that warning right now. Blue Springs Park about 651. And then Trinity. This is 1 hour into the future. So we're close to 7 o'clock. getting it out here toward Morgan County and southwestern Limestone County. Let's go over to Alex Puckett. Alex, you have your eyes on the National Weather Service chat. What do we have coming in so far?
Well, we're slowly getting some damage reports trickling in from far western Calvert County. Jason, you called out just several minutes ago when this thing was moving into Calvert County, Maud Road. We both called it out. Maud Road at the Natchez Trace Parkway, near the Natchez Trace Parkway. Reports of the road being completely blocked there. Thankfully, while we have seen some reports of damage in far western Calvert County, we have not heard of the type of damage reports in the community of Tishomingo in Mississippi, where we've seen significant damage reports, structural damage, and possibly, we hope not, but possibly injuries being reported there as well. At this point, the bit of good news, Jason, is that we don't have any storms that look the way that storm did when it produced that tornado, but it is still rotating. It's rotating rapidly enough that it could drop a tornado in parts of eastern Calvert County, central or eastern Calvert County, and into potentially, if it holds together, into parts of northwestern Lawrence County. We're still watching these storms that are pushing out of East Mississippi into northwest Alabama now. Both of them have some weak rotation in them. They don't have enough rotation that we would necessarily think that they are tornadic at this time, but with the environment we have today, it's not going to take these storms very long to go from just weakly rotating to dropping a tornado. So with that in mind, if you're watching us in Franklin County, southern Calvert County, or anywhere in Franklin County, understand that there are more storms on the way that could potentially impact you. So I mentioned this morning in a Facebook Live. This is not going to be a day where one storm passes through and you get your all clear. This is just not that kind of day. With these isolated supercells, these discrete storms, you can get one and then another one. And so we'll have to continue to watch both of those storms in eastern Mississippi because both of them are strong and suspicious, but at this point, not necessarily tornadic. But Jason, still the best circulation out there is this one in Calvert Heights, between Calvert Heights and Littleville, about to cross Highway 43. That's the storm that at this point still stands out as having the best potential to produce a tornado.
All right, thanks, Alex. I want to give you a picture of the entire region here for just a moment. Huntsville eastward, nothing so far. Jackson County, DeKalb County, Marshall, Morgan, Cullman, Madison. We've had no severe weather yet. We did have flash flooding this morning, and look at this. We've got them lined up again here. And look which way they're moving, to the same areas that had all that tremendous rainfall, 2 to 3 inches this morning. So some flash flooding may be in the cards here. We'll drift up into southern Tennessee here for just a moment. A severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect for northern Lawrence County and southern Marshall County, Tennessee. There's some heavy rain falling in northern Lincoln County, but no severe weather is happening at the moment. We do have a tornado watch in effect for all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee until 10 p.m. There's the one storm that has a potential tornado that is now passing east of Calvert Heights. If you're around Neesmith, Old Bethel, Leeton, or Town Creek, you need to be in your safe place. There's a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for Franklin County and southwestern Calvert County until 6:45, and then 2 more warnings over in North Mississippi. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings right now. This is our radar reset that we have here in North Alabama. Again, in Huntsville, Decatur, Athens, it's just mainly some rain at this moment, but we do think that there will be some more active severe weather within the next really hour to 2 hours, moving into the metro area here, Huntsville, Decatur, Athens, Hartselle. So don't let your guard down just because nothing significant has happened where you are yet, because we're watching those storms as they are tracking eastbound. We're going to go back over to the Columbus radar. It's a little bit closer to Calvert County. And I would say, Alex, if anything, that thing looks like it might be trying to intensify again southeast of Calvert Heights. It will not let this go. That is a very, very strong sign in the reflectivity that we have rotation. We'll look at the velocity display, and sure enough, even that has intensified in just the last few minutes. Look at this pixel to pixel right here over Spring Valley. Pixel being one little block there of the velocity. So you got strong wind moving this way, strong wind moving that way. We're after years of research and looking at signatures like this, we know that that's a strong indicator that the whole thing is spinning around. Now, can we see the tornado on radar? No, not in this case. But if you're at Spring Valley, White Oak, this is Alabama Highway 157. By the way, this is all passing south of Muscle Shoals and Tuscumbia. If you've gone to your safe place in Muscle Shoals and Tuscumbia, you're going to be okay. The warning is now a little bit to the south of downtown Muscle Shoals. Still some of the city limits out here close to Highway 133, Mama Jean's on Highway 157, Highway 72, right there close to the intersection. And then that's where the highways split. So there's 20. There's Alabama 157. This is more likely going to go toward 157 than 20. So there's our circulation. And I'm just going to draw it out here. This is roughly where I think it's going to go. So it's mainly more of a White Oak near Highway 157 into western Lawrence County. If you're around Town Creek, Highway 101, be thinking about what you're going to do from 157 all the way to Highway 20. The entirety of that Highway 101 stretch. If you're north of Town Creek, you're still in that warning up toward the Fish Bank community. I want you to be in your safe place too, but especially from Town Creek south, you need to be in a safe place right now. Here's the shear rate. It's intensified again a little bit just northeast of Littleville. So the golf course sits right there on the county line. That's it where my finger is. This is just northeast of Littleville. It has passed northeast of Ligon Springs, Underwood Heights, Flatwoods, Lime Rock. You are no longer in an immediate threat of a tornado, but remember, there are other storms to the west that are menacing right now. The shear rate is not as strong there close to Pogo, but it does appear to be ramping up down here north of Fulton, Mississippi. So if you're around Red Bay, Vina, Hodges, Belgreen, be on your toes. That storm will be coming into Franklin County next. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Franklin County, including Cedar Creek Reservoir, just to the northwest edge of Russellville, and then into southern Calvert County around Highway 247. So a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect here until 6:45. The warning that's in effect that is west of Franklin County for the storm that is just to the north, to the southwest of Red Bay is in effect until 6:30. So for another 10 minutes there, I think that will probably be extended into Franklin County. Here's the velocity. That looks like it's tightening up a little bit, and looks like we still have strong rotation here in Calvert County. Let's go to Alex.
Report coming in via NWS chat, tornado at Spring Valley Road and Highway 43.
Okay, so tornado at Spring Valley Road and Highway 43 in Calvert County. That is a call to action. So Spring Valley Road and Highway 43. So that's Spring Valley Road right there. You can see it. There's Cook Lane. There's the Spring Valley community. There's 3 Mile Lane. So our tornado is now over the Spring Valley community, very near LaGrange Road, moving into LaGrange College Site Park and White Oak. There's the only thing out here at White Oak is a gas station. Last time I was through there, it was a Jet Pep. Don't know if it's still a Jet Pep or not, but if you know what I'm talking about, that store at that intersection, it's coming right toward it. There is a tornado on the ground right there, reported by a storm spotter, that's coming right toward White Oak, Cottontown, and Edmond. Town Creek, Highway 101, 157, and Highway 20. If you're in that corner of Limestone County, in between all of those highways, you need to be in a safe place right now. If you're in a mobile home, I want you out of that mobile home and into a sturdy shelter. You only have a few minutes to get there before this storm is on top of you. So tornado warning is in effect until 6:45 p.m. You have been warned of this for a while. You've had quite a bit of lead time. What will happen is you'll have hail out ahead of it. Heavy rain, then hail, then all is quiet, and then there's a tornado back there in the quiet zone. And then once that passes, there's going to be more rain coming in behind it. So you want to make sure you are in a safe place right now. Town Creek, Hatton, Highway 101, Alabama 157, and Alabama Highway 20. The warning does not include Cortland proper, the city limits of Cortland, nor Hillsboro or Langtown, but given the history of this and how fast they're moving and how they're maintaining their composure, they're not diminishing at all as they move into North Alabama. I think that we'll end up with a tornado warning down the line for all of northern Lawrence County. So go ahead and be thinking about where you're going to go. I'll put my finger on where the tornado would be. We'll draw our path out like this. We'll bring it in at about 44 miles per hour. That would get it into the Trinity area around 7 o'clock. So Morgan County, southwestern Limestone County around 7 o'clock, northern Lawrence County. You see the communities here. Calvert, 650, 644 at Cortland, Town Creek about 637. 15 minutes to Town Creek. We had that tornado back in December that was so heartbreaking in Town Creek.
Tornado warning coming for northwestern Franklin County.
Okay, tornado warning is also now coming for northwestern Franklin County because of that storm right there. So now we're going to have two that we'll jog back and forth with, and I would imagine in pretty short order we're going to have three. I think this one over North Mississippi is going to go that way too. So Alex, tell us the warning and where it's going.
Well, warning's not out yet. They're working on it, but it'll be for northwestern Franklin County. It's going to be for a circulation that is near the community of Pleasant site. This circulation's near Highway 11, Highway 15. It's going to cross Highway 247 somewhere near Pleasant site, probably between Pleasant site and the Cedar Creek Reservoir. And there's your new tornado warning. So, again, this is for northwestern, actually for a good chunk of Franklin County. This is going to include Russellville. So if you're watching us in Russellville, this is coming your way. And let me switch back over here. Again, like before, the reflectivity does not look as impressive as the actual circulation right there. But the immediate call to action right now, Pleasant site, Highway 247, the Cedar Creek Reservoir, Winchester Road, Nebo Hill Road. You need to be getting in your safe place right now. Again, it's those greens next to the reds right there. That's the circulation that we're getting the warning for. We'll pop on the shear rate, and you can see we've got some brighter greens showing there, so there is some spin with this storm. I'll point out, no tornado warning for this, no severe thunderstorm warning either, but if you're watching us towards Red Bay, you get a heavy storm coming, and this storm does have a severe thunderstorm warning in Mississippi. It has also shown some weaker broad rotation. That will be a storm we'll have to watch as it continues to move east as well. Jason?
Okay, the more dominant storm is the northern storm right now. We've got three that we're watching. The one that is approaching the Lawrence County line, that one has the most intense signature where a tornado could develop. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning for the storm Alex was talking about. That'll include Red Bay and Hodges and Vina down toward the Bailey community in southern Franklin County. But Russellville, you're under a tornado warning now. You need to be in a safe place, especially toward Russellville High School, west side of town, Cedar Creek Reservoir, as Alex was mentioning. Possible tornado here tracking to the east right toward Russellville. County Road 21, that was one of the roads that Alex was showing. If you're on County Road 21, I need you to be in a safe place right now. Anything out around the reservoir that's just a little bit right along and north of Highway 24. So that storm is passing east of Red Bay. You got one coming in south of Red Bay too, but there's a lot of heavy rain in Red Bay at the moment. Let's go to our storm that's approaching Lawrence County. And this, man, that looks like maybe some pretty serious hail right along Highway 20 and Highway 157. It's just past the store at White Oak, and that is the circulation around the backside of it. So here's where our possible tornado would be. We'll show some of the county roads here toward Edmond, County Road 235 in Lawrence County, County Road 143, County Road 141. And then farther east, we're looking at County Road 261, County Road 262, Lawrence County 585, and Lawrence County 265. Not all of the roads show up here. We can't put every name on. So if you're close to one of those highways, I want you to be in a safe place right now. This is Alabama Highway 101. Nobody needs to be driving on Highway 101 now, anywhere between Hatton and Town Creek. I think the tornado may come in north of Hatton. It might be very, very close to Town Creek. Might be a little closer, but it's too close for comfort anywhere near here. So on Highway 101, I want you to be in a safe place, as well as Alabama Highway 157. The circulation is strongest right there over White Oak. Let's draw a storm track on it. We'll bring it out at a speed. Looks like it actually has slowed down just a bit, so we're going to slow the track down to about 35 miles per hour. That's still going to get it close to the Morgan-Lawrence County line by 7 o'clock, but maybe not as quickly as it looked earlier. Might be about 5 or 10 minutes later. Lucy's Branch, 657. Ripley, about 7:06. West Morgan High School around Trinity at 7:08, and Lawson at 7:09. Lawson is in Limestone County. So that's where our tornado is going. This is the uncertainty. The reason that fans out is because these storms can wobble to the left or wobble to the right. If anything, I think it might move a little bit to the right of the motion here. So that would be near or just a little south of Highway 20, Cortland, Town Creek, White Oak, Caddo, Trinity, Lawson. You're most likely to be affected by this. Lucy's Branch, Rogersville, you're a little bit too far north to be directly impacted by it. The tornado that's in Franklin County, this does not look as impressive on radar, but there's certainly reason there that the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning. West of Cedar Creek Reservoir, your possible tornado is now southeast of Pogo, and it's tracking just like this. That's the reason we have the red box. And look, I realize there are lots of lines on here, so let's reduce the clutter a bit and use the shear rate to show you the most intense wind and the potential where the tornado would be. So that's right there along Highway 247 in the western part of Calvert County. It is moving east just like that, close to 35 miles per hour. That's going to cover most of eastern and northern Franklin County through 7 o'clock. Tharptown about 7:07, Littleville at 7:03, Frankfort at 6:47, Belgreen at about 6:44, and then, of course, downtown Russellville could be impacted by this just before 7 o'clock, close to 6:56 p.m. There has been a history of damage with the storms that we've seen so far today. One very large tornado came out of Tishomingo toward Minot. We know that there's been some pretty significant damage done along the Natchez Trace Parkway, lots of trees blown down. That storm is this one that's still rotating as it's moving into Lawrence County. And it may not be the same intensity that it was, but it doesn't have to be a high-end intensity rotation to produce a tornado. Thing might not be as strong as it was. That doesn't matter. If there's a tornado there, you need to protect yourself, protect your family. You need to get to safety. If you're around Town Creek, you've got minutes here. A couple of minutes before this thing is on top of you. We'll go back to the reflectivity, and that looks like some very large hail approaching Town Creek right now. Could be very large hail here, moving close to Highway 101. This is the hail path on it. We've seen radar picking up on hail here between Calvert Heights and White Oak. The velocity may be intensifying just a little bit as it's crossing the county line into Lawrence County. So now it's east of White Oak. It's out close to Highway 157, approaching Highway 101. Hatton, you are in the warning. I think the tornado is going to be a little north of what you might call downtown Hatton. But if you're in the Hatton area, or if you're in the Town Creek area, you got a Hatton zip code or a Town Creek zip code, be in a safe place. A safe place means not in a mobile home. A safe place means not looking out the window, not on the front porch. If you have a basement, be near the interior part of that. If you don't have a basement, you'll want to find a place on the lowest floor of the house in the nearest to the middle part you can get where you have an enclosed space. That might be a hallway. It might be a closet. It might be a bathroom with no windows in it. The idea is to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Alex.
Jason, we have a new tornado warning for southern Franklin County. And Jason, this storm is quickly sort of looking like it may become one of the bigger ones. The structure on that, really impressive. This is a tornado warning that's going to go for southern Franklin County until 7 o'clock. If you are watching us on the far southern end of the county, you need to be in your safe place right now. So, Jason, this is a new tornado warning that just got issued. And again, you can see it's got that hook shape to it. It looks like it may be starting to tighten up some on the past couple scans. So they decided to go ahead and issue a tornado warning for that.
Yeah, and that one does look like it may be becoming a bit more dominant. So we've got two that are fairly strong and then one that may not be quite as strong, but there's still potential here for a tornado near Cedar Creek Reservoir, moving toward Belgreen and toward Russellville. So our third tornado warning now is this one that's covering the western and southern part of Franklin County. So Vina, Hodges, Red Bay. You're under a tornado warning in Red Bay. I think it may be a little south of you. This is what it looks like in reflectivity. The possible tornado would be right about there. So even though Red Bay's in the warning, it's a good idea to go ahead and be indoors because there is likely some hail and some very heavy rain falling there along Alabama Highway 19. That this could be pea-size hail. It could be up to nickel size or quarter size. But then back here, that notch is where the tornado would be. We'll look at the base velocity, and yeah, that's it. Just north of the Marion County line, just southwest of Vina. So if you're in Vina or Hodges, along Highway 172, County Highway 23 and County Road 123, Highway 11 southwest of Red Bay. Safe place right now. And again, what is a safe place? Let's talk about that here for just a moment. I want to show you some examples of what it means to be in your safe place. Number one, a basement is the best place that you could possibly be, or a storm shelter, a true to form designed storm shelter, something that was built to withstand this stuff. Option number two, and look at this, this is important, site-built structure. I'm not talking about the interior of a mobile home. That's no safer than any other room in a mobile home. If you have a frame-built home that's on a foundation, a good foundation, a room that's in the middle with walls on the outside, that's where you want to find yourself in this kind of situation. So Southwest Franklin County, Vina, Hodges, that doesn't go quite as far as Phil Campbell, but out around the Bailey Bend community, you're under this tornado warning as well. So here's where our possible tornado would be. It's moving east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Now remember, that fan goes out because of the uncertainty in the overall path, but out around Phil Campbell, 711, Isbell, close to the Russellville Airport, 709. Waco would be right around 718. The tornado that would be approaching Russellville is, of course, a little north of that one. That circulation is sitting just east of Alabama 247, moving straight toward Russellville at about 35 miles per hour. So there's the overall path on that one. Tharptown, it would be about 710. Frankfort at about 648, and downtown Russellville at about 658. So less than 20 minutes until this thing comes out Highway 24 right into Russellville. And remember, regardless of a tornado, these storms are severe. So they have high wind and they have potential for some large hail with them. Let's go into Lawrence County. This one is still one of the more intense circulations that we have seen. It's been the strongest storm that we've had all day. The one that's moving into southern Franklin County is coming into as a close second, but now just north of Hatton on Highway 157 and Highway 101. This might be yards north of the intersection, if it's north of the intersection at all. The tornado would be in this area, and it's tracking to the east. So areas from Town Creek to Hatton over toward Langtown and Cortland, you need to be in a safe place right now. Alex.
New tornado warning forthcoming for Lawrence, Morgan, and Limestone counties for that storm. So they're going to extend that further east. So that is the news that has just come in from the Weather Service. They're going to extend that warning further to the east. So this is probably, if it doesn't include Decatur, it's going to be really close. Again, this is going to be a pretty long extension of this warning. That circulation, that storm has just kept on going.
And what the Weather Service is doing is they're trying to give you as much heads up as possible. So your Live Alert 19 is about to light up in eastern Lawrence County, western Morgan County, and southern Limestone County. It may or may not include the cities of Decatur and Athens, but it's going to be very close. Tornado warning in southern Franklin County and in northern Franklin County. There are two separate storms in Franklin County that could be producing tornadoes. So we're looking at all three of them right here. And remember, Huntsville, okay, there's your new warning. That's in effect until 7 o'clock. It does include at least some of the city limits of Decatur and Athens. And by the way, we have meteorologist Christina Edwards in Storm Hunter 19 in the Decatur area right now. So once we have her feed, I want to be able to go live to her. So we've got Christina Edwards in Storm Hunter 19. Do we have her right now? Not now. Okay, standing by. So just let me know when we've got that. 7 o'clock, tornado warning does include the cities of Decatur and Trinity, Cortland, Hillsboro. This is north of Moulton. It's north of Mount Hope, it's north of Speake, and it looks like it might be right on the line there at Caddo. So Caddo, the East Lawrence community, you're in the warning. Langtown, Hatton, you're in the warning. Moulton, Wren, Youngtown, Mount Hope, and Speake, you're not in it. In Austinville, southwest part of Decatur, Trinity, we've had a history with some storms out in this part of Morgan County in the past. Don't let your guard down. this could be a very serious situation in Morgan County and southern Limestone County, as that storm that is now just between Hatton and Town Creek. Back in December, there was a storm that was very similar to this one that crossed over 101 and then Lawrence County 265. We had fatalities and injuries out here because folks were in mobile homes. Please don't be in a mobile home. If you're getting this much warning, please get out of that mobile home, get to a shelter. I understand the concerns about COVID-19, coronavirus. Forget about that for just a moment. This is much more threatening than the coronavirus if you were in a mobile home. Get to a shelter. Don't wait around. Don't wait until the last minute and be in your car while this thing is bearing down on you. Number one, you won't be able to see. It's raining so hard, you won't be able to see the street in front of you. Number two, it could be on you more quickly than you could get to the storm shelter, and it could cause your car to flip. There could be all kinds of problems that come along with that too. This is more dangerous than the virus right now in northern Lawrence County. Southwest of there, tornado warning still in effect in southern Franklin County. Alex, has the warning for northern Franklin been dropped? It looks like it has.
It would appear so. It would appear that they let that go.
Okay, so the tornado warning for northern Franklin County has expired, or has been allowed to be expired, because the threat of a tornado no longer exists there. So if you're around Russellville and you'd gone through your tornado safety plan, stay there and wait until this is completely passed. There's no sense in getting out and then maybe having to go back in if it ramps up. But that storm that is now approaching Alabama Highway 19, very strong indication of a tornado with it. Highway 172, the Atwood community. Robert E. Lee Road out toward Hodges, Highway 172, safe place now. Large hail falling out ahead of it. You get the quiet, and then the tornado develops on the southwest side of all of that hail. The velocity here doesn't look extremely impressive. This is base velocity. This is storm relative. I don't see the same kind of signature with that, what was potentially a violent tornado that hit in Tishomingo and Calvert counties earlier, but there may be enough rotation here that a tornado could spin up out of this. So we'll keep an eye on it. Southern Franklin County, Highway 172 to Hodges over toward Bailey Bend. You can see Alabama 187 right there. And then Franklin County, Highway 57 out here toward the Dismals, Duketon, Nix Mill. Everybody in this part of Franklin County, I want you to be in a safe place, because there's a possible tornado here that is tracking eastbound. I'm going to put a storm track on it so that you can get a better feel for the communities in the path. I'm also going to reduce the clutter here and go with shear rate. That's the spot where the wind damage could be the greatest. It's also where the rotation is the greatest. The storm track is going to look like this from around Highway 19 through Hodges out to Phil Campbell, and then near Posey Mill. So maybe doesn't get quite to Posey Mill right on the edge of the county line there, but Bear Creek in Marion County, Haleyville about 718. I think Haleyville might be a little too far south, but it's good to be on your toes. Phil Campbell about 708. Hackleburg would be close to 658, and the Hodges community around 647. So less than 7 minutes. And in just that moment, look at that. The shear rate has really ramped up there in southern Franklin County. I would think that this is probably becoming quickly the more dominant storm of the three that we've been watching. We're going to go back to Lawrence County here in just a moment, but I wanted to show you this because as it's getting stronger, look at that. Sanders Road, Highway 172, and then around Sunset Road, Alabama 172, east of the Hodges community, right into eastern Franklin County, Highway 187, and then Old Line Road, Downs Road. I want you to be in a safe place right now. I'm going to bounce out big, and we're going to go back into the storm that's over northern Lawrence County. Alex, if we have any reports of any damage, just go ahead and chime in.
No reports out of that storm recently. Of course, that storm has been the storm of the day so far, so there are reports further to the west of some damage with that. But the Weather Service noting that the rotation is increasing a bit on that storm. So as much as we've seen storms start to look more impressive further to south, this thing is not giving up and continues to have a pretty good rotation signature on it south of Town Creek, east of Highway 157. So if you're watching us, particularly if you are south of Highway 20, so Cortland and points south and Hillsborough and points south, you need to be in your safe place. So Highway 13 there that goes south from Highway 20 near Cortland, that is where this thing is. So Calvert Springs, you need to be in your safe place right now. This is going to continue to push sort of due east. So if you're watching us in Trinity and ultimately in Decatur, you need to be in your safe place as well. But the rotation's picking up on that. I have not seen any damage reports out of this in a little while. Again, a couple of reports out of Cherokee County, or excuse me, out of Calvert County from this. From a Cherokee Fire says there was a structure with minor damage on Maud Road, and that was back when this crossed into Alabama, right across the Mississippi line. Since then, we have not seen as many damage reports, but it's still spinning and could produce a tornado at any time. Jason?
All right, thanks, Alex. We do have meteorologist Christina Edwards live in Storm Hunter 19 along Highway 20 in Trinity, and the Storm Hunter is pointed westbound. And Christina, if you can hear me, tell me what you see.
Jason, I can hear you. We just heard the tornado sirens go off. They just went off momentarily a minute ago or so. We are pointed due west, and so I'm monitoring that circulation that you've been looking at on radar, and that circulation is coming directly our way. So we're going to continue to stay in place for just a moment longer, but if we have to, we'll jog a little bit further south. But so far, of course, we see the gray skies. We've seen a lot of lightning, and we're keeping an eye out for any kind of cloud features like the wall clouds or any kind of twisting features. So far, we don't see anything for now, but we are just due east of that circulation, so we do have to maintain safety, and we may have to jog out of here soon.
All right, thanks, Christina. Let us know if you see anything in particular out there. That rotation is ramping up again just southeast of Town Creek, approaching Langtown. So Alabama Highway 33 north of Moulton, you need to be in a safe place right now. It is past 101. So if you're out here around White Oak or the Neesmith community, Town Creek proper, I'm thinking downtown Town Creek, around Highway 20 and Highway 101, right there at the intersection. Through the city of Town Creek itself, the danger is now passing to your southeast, and this tornado is a little south of where the one back in December passed across the Rigdon, Terrytown areas. This is down close to Hatton, tracking eastbound toward Letson, Langtown, Highway 13, and Highway 33. Calvert, Caddo, you need to be in your safe place. And you can see up here at the top of the screen, that's the shores of the Tennessee River. This is the Morgan County line right here. So we are not far from Morgan County whatsoever. In fact, from the county line, based on Christina's position is right there near the county line. She's only about 14 miles to the northeast of where that possible tornado would be, and it's tracking east-northeast. Christina may end up needing to go down to the south a little bit to be sure that she's in a safe place to view this, because we don't want to be in the rain and the hail part of it. We want to be able to see safely from a distance on the south side. Possible tornado now passing east of Hatton toward Calvert, Alabama Highway 33 through northern Lawrence County. I want you to be in a safe place. If you're in Moulton or Wren, this is north of you, out here toward Hillsboro and Caddo, safe place. That's where you need to be right now. Velocity seems to have picked up just a little bit. And as a reminder, the way this works is we look at the outbound from the radar. The radar's down at Greenwood Springs in northern Mississippi. And then here's the inbound. So we know that there's some circulation happening right there, a counterclockwise circulation just northwest of Langtown, and it's tracking toward the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So there are some of the communities that are going to be in the path of this. We'll turn the shear rate on so that it's a little bit more obvious how it's going to work. Bassham, 714. Downtown Decatur, 716. Flint City, 718. Caddo, about 701. Hillsboro at about 658. And Calvert, about 652. Let's go to Alex.
We have a new tornado warning for Moore County and far northern Franklin County in Tennessee. That's going to go until 7:30. That includes Lynchburg, that's going to be north of Winchester. It does not include Winchester, Tennessee, but that does include the city of Lynchburg. That goes until 7:30. Jason.
Okay, well, let's check in on that one. It's northeast of Fayetteville. There is Moore County. There is northern Franklin County. The speed on this is going to be pretty similar to what we have dealt with for most of the afternoon with these. So tornado warning just north of Winchester, Estill Springs. It doesn't include Tullahoma, but it's awfully close right there to the county line. The heavy rains falling between Tullahoma and Shelbyville, Tullahoma and Manchester, but Moore County and northern Franklin County, Tennessee. A tornado warning in effect there. That possible tornado would track just like this across northern Franklin County, Sewanee, Estill Springs, Winchester. It may be a little north of Winchester and Sewanee itself along Highway 64, but if you're in the northern part of Franklin County, Tennessee, out along Timms Ford Lake, now would be a good time to make sure a lot of folks live on houseboats out here on Timms Ford. If you know someone who's there that may not be paying attention to the weather, send them a text. Let them know they've got to get off the water because there is a possible tornado that's going to come right over Timms Ford Lake in the next 10 to 15 minutes. They need to be off the water as quickly as possible. We've got some heavy storms moving into Madison County, but our possible tornado is this that's right here close to Cortland in northern Lawrence County. The tornado has lifted northeast of Hatton. This is using the Huntsville high top radar. We'll go back to Columbus and get that perspective on it too, and you can still see a leading edge of it. Very heavy rain, hail is likely there, strong straight line winds could come in with it too. And as this is approaching Highway 20 out here close to Trinity, we're going to have a live picture on this. If we want to double box it, that's fine, to put Christina's picture from Storm Hunter 19 because we are going to see a tremendous sheet of rain coming over. Christina, can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, tell me where you are and where you're traveling right now. I see that you guys are on the move. Are you moving south?
We are moving east right now so that we can then jog south. We're on Alabama 20. We're about to come up on Beltline Road. We'll probably go south on let me try this again, Beltline Road.
Okay, so you guys keep us informed. If you see something or hear something, just chime in. Control room will be listening for you. We'll pipe you in immediately. But now let's just keep Christina's picture up because that's going to be the closest camera that we have to this. Right around Langtown, Hillsboro, Caddo, Trinity, Decatur, you need to be in a safe place. And as Christina mentioned, they're headed toward the belt line. That's the belt line right there. So that's Highway 67. There's the split off to Highway 24 out there close to Ponderosa. And then the belt line comes around down this way to Austinville and then ultimately down toward Target on Highway 31. You can see if you're using Live Alert 19, if you were at Target, you didn't get the warning. If you were at Milo's across the street, you probably did get the warning because it's based on your geographic location, and that line splits Decatur right down the middle. If you're on Highway 31, you probably didn't get it. If you're west of Highway 31, you did get it. So that's the picture from Storm Hunter 19. This is where our tornado would be right now, approaching Hillsboro, moving right over Calvert into Caddo. Highway 20 right now, large hail is expected to be falling here around Hillsboro, out toward the Joe Wheeler home, and then out around Dot's Soul Food. This is one of those paths from back on April 27th. Not following the same path, it's just very, very close to some of the communities that were affected back on April 27, 2011. Tornado warning is in effect until 7 o'clock for Morgan, for southwestern Limestone, and for the eastern part of Lawrence County. And I'll say this, we can give you some temporary all clears for Town Creek, for Hatton, and for Leeton. But there is another thunderstorm back here, so we're not finished with the thunderstorm threat, even in the Shoals area. There's still a tornado watch in effect, and until that watch is dropped, we give no complete all clears. But if you have been in your safe place in Town Creek, Hatton, and out toward White Oak, Neesmith, you can go ahead and go back to a slightly more normal afternoon for yourself, but just make sure you're staying informed of what's happening with the weather. Alex, I want to go over to you for just a moment. We still have that tornado warning down in Franklin County.
We do. I don't know how much longer we're going to keep it. Let me switch radar sites here and get a little better view of this. The concerning part of the storm is now pushing into Marion County. There's a severe thunderstorm warning for northern Marion County. That includes Hackleburg and Bear Creek. And this storm means business. Even if we lose the tornado warning, there's still likely some very strong winds in there. You see some bright reds next to some bright greens. I'll show you that data is a little bit noisy, and it's out ahead of where the heavy rain is. That can sometimes be an indication that the data is not quite as reliable as it would be if it was in the heavy rain there. But still, if you're watching us in Hackleburg, by any chance, it would not be a bad idea to be in a safe place. And southeast of Hodges in Franklin County, wouldn't be a bad idea to be in a safe spot there too. There could be some hail and some strong winds with this. I'll point out you're seeing some of the purples there. Just to note that this radar does what we call runs a little hot, so it looks a little more intense than it is, but still, that is a mean storm that means business. So if you're watching us from Haleyville back to Bear Creek and Hackleburg and Marion County, and then even into Phil Campbell and Hodges in southern Franklin County, this is not going to be a fun storm to deal with. But right now, I would say that our primary tornado threat in North Alabama is still this storm that is pushing near Hillsboro, and I'm going to switch back over to the high top radar here. So if you're watching us in Hillsboro, Trinity, or Decatur, you need to be in a safe place. Of all the storms we've got, that one still has the best potential to produce a tornado right now. And that's a storm that meteorologist Christina Edwards is watching. If she sees anything from Storm Hunter 19, she will let us know. But Jason, right now, that still, from the start of the day for us, when this thing went tornado warned in Prentiss County, Mississippi, in Prentiss County, Mississippi, to now, has just been the dominant storm. And right now, at least in Alabama, it still is.
All right, I've got a picture of what looks like a wall cloud right here. This is from Bob Cuz. He's sitting southwest of Decatur on Highway 24. You can see the lowering, and even though that's a still image, he says there's a lot of upward motion there. So there's clearly a wall cloud there. We can't see if there's a tornado on the ground from that picture, but we will be monitoring his feed very, very closely. So what he's watching is a storm that is northwest of his position, which is right about here. So he's looking that direction, seeing the lowering that has a lot of upward motion in it. The velocity here still strong enough to consider that there may be a tornado. We'll flip back over to high top and look at it a little bit differently. And sure enough, I think there's certainly potential here that a tornado could develop if there's not one there at any moment here between Caddo and Hillsboro. We're looking at the colors a little differently. You'll notice we went from more of a red shade to a green shade, and that's because we're looking at the radar a little differently. The radar is now to the northeast, or the upper right-hand corner of the screen. So you can see the green's meaning toward, the red is meaning away. So we've got strong inbound wind this way, and then the outbound wind here, because we're just simply looking at velocity, is not as strong. But that can play a trick on you because the storm relative can tell us a little bit more about it. Now you can clearly see the wind is moving away and toward the radar site over northeastern Lawrence County. So if you're along Highway 20 or Highway 24, Trinity, I want you to be in a safe place just as soon as you can get there if you're not already there. If you're in Cortland or Langtown, it's okay to come out for now. Just be aware that there could be more storms coming. This is not a one and done kind of day. We've been talking about the timing on this for the last 24 hours in respects of not being a line, but more of a wave of scattered heavy thunderstorms, and some of which could be severe. So the storm that's approaching Hillsboro and Trinity right now potentially has a tornado with it. We've also got a storm that's up here close to Timms Ford Lake. So again, I'll reiterate, if you know somebody who is out here on Timms Ford on a houseboat on the western fringe of the lake, the tornado is already there. Moving along the eastern fringe of the lake out toward Estill Springs, the northwest side of Winchester or Deckard. This is northern Franklin County, Tennessee. The tornado would be right about there on the lake, moving almost due east. Here's the shear rate, and that is a strong indication that a tornado could be developing if it's not already there. Along Mansford Road, Winchester Springs, Eastbrook, Murray Lake Estates, Myers. You need to be in a safe place right now. Alex.
We've got a new tornado warning that's going to carry that Hillsboro storm all the way to the Madison County line. So this is going to be sort of a southeastward extension. If you're watching us in Mooresville and Priceville, you're now in the tornado warning as well. So that's just a little bit of a realignment there to better accommodate how the storm is moving. But that's just sort of we'll give you sort of the tap in the shoulder now. If you are watching us in southwestern Madison County, be aware that this thing is still tracking in that direction. So if you're watching us particularly south of 565 and west of 231 in Madison County, know that this is headed in that general direction. But if you're watching us in Trinity, Decatur, Hillsborough, Priceville, and Mooreville, you need to be in your tornado safe place now. This is a storm that has a history of producing tornadoes and has produced one violent tornado in parts of northeast Mississippi and far western Calvert County earlier today. So this storm has just got a long and mean rap sheet, and you need to take it seriously because it means business. Jason?
Okay, let's go to Christina Edwards. I'm going to take her picture full. And Christina, if you can hear me, go ahead and narrate what you're looking at.
Standing by. So, Jason, we are at the corner of Woodall Road and Alabama 20, and we are in Trinity, and we are pointing Storm Hunter 19 due west. And notice how it is light on the left-hand side and dark on the right-hand side. I suspect that we're looking at a wall cloud that is coming in. I'm looking for rotation. It's kind of hard to see if there's any kind of rotation happening, but I think that feature, again, of course, this truck just went in front of us, but as soon as it goes away, notice how it's light on the left-hand side, dark on the right-hand side. I suspect that's the circulation that we're looking at from here in Trinity. Again, we're at the corner of Woodall Road and Alabama 20 in Trinity, looking due west, and I suspect that this is the circulation that you're tracking on radar. So this is coming our way. This, as a meteorologist, this makes me on the nervous side, so we're going to go ahead and take our escape route. But Jason, I think that's the visual that we've been noticing here on radar.
Okay, and here's another picture of it. Kenny Duckett, one of our storm chasers, getting that picture. He's in Hillsborough right now watching it, so he's seeing that same lowering. I want to keep Christina's picture up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen so that we can see what she's looking at. So you can see Christina there on the right. We're on the left looking at a picture. I'm going to go back to radar here so that we can see what we need to see radar-wise. Remember, there is a tornado warning in effect for all of northern Morgan County. That's going to include Trinity, Decatur, Priceville, southern Limestone County. This does include parts of the Tanner area, maybe not right there at the intersection where the red light is in Tanner, but it does include areas just south of there, close to Swancott, and then down around Belmina. It's not in Madison County yet, but it's right to the Madison County line. That's where the tornado warning stops. We're including Priceville in this tornado warning, Bassham, Austinville, Point Mallard Park. If you know anybody who's camping out at Point Mallard, they need to be moving indoors right now. Give them a text message. Tell them that a tornado is only a few miles away. We've got a possible tornado that's near Trinity and Caddo moving toward the northeast. And really, it looks like there could be some high wind on the north side of this, and then the tornado would be right about there on the south side of it. So let's go to our reflectivity. A clear indication here that a tornado could be developing. You've got the main thunderstorm updraft here, and then wrapping around that, it's like taking a shower curtain, wrapping that rain around the circulation. So that's where that hook echo comes from. The track on this, the timeline, is going to look something like this. So we don't have a confirmed tornado on the ground, but it looks like it could be very, very close, about 35 miles per hour. You see some of the town names here. I'll read them off because we're in a double box. It may look a little smaller. Point Mallard about 719, downtown Decatur 714, Greenbrier at 730, Huntsville International Airport. So start thinking if you're around Lake Forest or Cambridge, the Triana area, Mountain Brook, out toward the Trash Panda's new stadium at Toyota Field on 565, Madison. You need to already be thinking about what you're going to do if a warning is required for Madison County. So we're watching Christina's picture. It looks like that's frozen. So until she comes back, let's go back full screen. There's our possible tornado right there, tracking right toward Decatur. In Decatur, this storm has had a history of producing a lot of damage to the west. It hasn't been quite as active in Lawrence County that we know of, but sometimes these storms can cause damage reports to be a little bit delayed. But there is a strong indication a tornado is headed right into the city of Decatur right now. Alex.
We've got a new tornado warning for far northeastern Marion County and northern Winston County until 7:45. Hackleburg, Bear Creek, Haleyville, Double Springs. You need to be in your tornado safe place now.
Okay, and that's northern Marion County right there. We're using high top. We'll quickly look over at Columbus and pick up on that. And that's a pretty mean looking storm right there. Hackleburg, Bear Creek, hail falling out around Phillips High School. This is Alabama 237. That's Alabama Highway 13 going down into Haleyville. So again, this area, northeastern Marion County and the northern part of Winston County under a tornado warning until 7:45 p.m. The picture you see in the right-hand part of your screen, though, is coming from the Decatur area. That's close to Highway 20. The storm is now right on top of Trinity and really the south end of Trinity. The tornado could be a little south of West Morgan High School, but it is so close that we don't want to risk it. In fact, it might not be south of it at all. It could be right there at the high school. So Trinity, West Morgan High School, that's Alabama Highway 24. Look at this. That's hail falling over the Moulton Heights neighborhood in Decatur, the Griffin Addition. This is the interchange between Highway 24 and Alabama Highway 67. So that's where Ponderosa Furniture was, right there. There's a catfish restaurant there. This comes up and becomes one of the main drags going into downtown Decatur. So if you are in downtown Decatur, heavy rain and hail are moving in. There's possibly a tornado right there near West Morgan High School that will track northeast. And this is going to come very close to the downtown area. So if you're around, say, Mellow Mushroom, out around CF Penn, Highway 31, 8th Street, Delano Park, Decatur High School, even Austin High School area, Austinville. You need to be in a safe place immediately. Let's recap what a safe place is. Safe place means a low point in your house. If you've got a basement, that's the best place that you could go, a basement or a storm shelter that was designed to withstand this kind of thing. Option number 2. By the way, none of these are mobile homes. These are all site-built homes. An interior room. That red shaded room is a bathroom. See how there are walls on the outsides of it? A small room with walls on the outside going to offer you more protection than a wall that has a window in it. Even in a tornado that might not be as large and destructive as the one that came into Calvert County earlier, there's still a chance that this could be a very significant storm moving into Decatur. Large hail now falling on Highway 20, very close to the marina on the northwest side of downtown. So that's Highway 20. That is Highway 24 right there. The Griffin Addition, Moulton Heights, Oakworth, high winds and hail right in this zone, Russell Village. That's the bottom part of the belt line right there. Step out of the screen there.
Hey, Jason, I think you're still on Columbus Next Rad there. I think you're still on Columbus Next Rad.
Okay. We just had a lightning strike here. That's what was causing the problem with the screen. So let's go to the reflectivity here. So again, there's potential there for some large hail. The tornado is right there close to Trinity, and it is tracking to the east. So this is the view from high top. What you were seeing was the view from Columbus. We can look at it from different perspectives. I want to go to Armour, and we'll look at it from Armour's perspective and try to get a feel for where it is. So the tornado warning is in effect until 7:30. Watch the live sweep line come around here, and look at that right there. That's the point. We're looking a little higher in the storm. So you're going to see that disappear, and you're looking at Christina's picture on the right-hand side of your screen. She's on Highway 24 just south of Trinity right now, so that'd be just south of West Morgan High School. There's where our tornado would be right now on Old 24 or Highway 24, so Christina's pretty close to it, and it's tracking northeast right into the city of Decatur. We'll go back over to the next rad view and get multiple perspectives on this. Large hail falling near the Tennessee River along Highway 20. That's coming out toward the McDonald's, the Meow Mix plant, and then the bridge going over the Tennessee River on Highway 31. Southern Limestone County, you need to be prepared for this. Northern Morgan County, Priceville, Bassham, you're technically in this warning. I would like for you to be in your safe place too. I want to back out just a bit. We've got thunder and lightning in Madison County now. We've gotten some strikes right here around downtown Huntsville, and you saw the screen go a little crazy just a moment ago. Sometimes a lightning strike very close by can cause some disruption in the picture. So that's what happened there just a moment ago. And wow, let's take Christina's picture full. You can see the heavy rain that she's in right now. Christina, what are you in right now, and where are you?
We are on Alabama 24, almost on our way into the heart of Decatur, and the wind is driving, the rain is driving. We've barely got visual of the reflectors on the road here to keep us on the road. Where we are is right about where that hail would have been. We are about to have what looks to be that rear flank downdraft about to smack us from behind from the west. So we are in the thick of it right now, Jason. The wind at least is not too particularly gusty, but the rain, we have very low visibility to the point where it's very hard to see just about 10 to 15 feet ahead of us. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Christina. The idea here is that all these thunderstorms that are developing are in an environment where they could quickly go into rotation. So we've got one that's rotating here near Decatur. You got another one close to Bear Creek in Marion County that's moving into Winston County. And we have another one that's up in Franklin County, Tennessee, that's a little north of Winchester. Tornado warning here is in effect until 7:30 p.m. That does include Estill Springs, the north side of Winchester. This is now past the lake. It's past Timms Ford Lake, and it's moving on the northeast side of Franklin County. Sewanee, Cowan, Winchester, technically not in the warning, but the tornado is going to come close to the southern edge of that warning. So from Decatur to the north side of Sewanee, folks need to be in a safe place right now. We'll put a storm track on it. The tornado is tracking just like that. So Tracy City and Colmont would be some of the next larger communities in the path of it. Sewanee, it's going to be close to you by about 7:25. Remember, lowest floor of your home, away from windows. A bathroom or a closet or a hallway is going to be one of the best places that you could be. A large mass of heavy rain and some thunder and lightning moving into Huntsville now, and then a tornado is possible in Decatur almost imminently. If there's not one down on the ground right now, it is just aloft, and it could drop down at just any moment. You see Christina's view there from Highway 20. Sheets of rain are falling. The tornado is now passing east of Trinity. And if it's on the ground, Griffin Addition, Moulton Heights, downtown Decatur, the Oakworth neighborhood, and then over toward Albany and into the Point Mallard Park area, Delano Park, all the communities that are surrounding that, all the neighborhoods that are right there close to Decatur High School, be down low, away from windows right now. Time's up. It's time to get where you got to be. Don't be in a car trying to outrun this thing. No one should be on Highway 31 in Decatur or on I-65 now between Priceville, exit 336. That's a good spot to jump off the interstate right now. If you're coming southbound from Athens, you need to stop either at 351, which is Highway 72, or stop at the Huntsville-Browns Ferry Road exit at Tanner and let this thing pass. Don't get all the way to 565 and then try to outrun it, because look at this. Guess where it's going to go after that? Right up 565 toward Madison County. Tornado warning is in effect until 7:30 for Decatur, for southern Limestone County and the northern edge of Morgan County. By the way, Somerville, Hartselle, you're not in the warning. This is all happening north of you, but there will be some rain and some thunderstorms coming in very soon. Shear rate on this is fairly impressive. Look at that, right along the river. Highway 20 out here in the industrial areas, that's out close to 3M and Daikin, coming along 20 right into the north side of downtown close to City Hall. That, in the latest view, is now shifting over toward I-65. So the danger is now on I-65 and into the east side of Decatur. The tornado would likely be now past east of the city, moving toward I-65. So along the river bridge, like I said, exit 336 at Priceville, exit 351 or the Huntsville Browns Ferry exit in Limestone County. Great places to stop and let this thing pass in front of you. Don't be northbound along the river or southbound out of Limestone County along the river at this point either. Let's take a deep breath here and look back up across all of North Alabama. We've got one storm that's in Franklin County, Tennessee that has a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm with it. A severe thunderstorm warning with it, by the way, that includes much of southern and central Franklin County, Tennessee, because of the strong winds here. There was a wall cloud reported earlier near Flintville. No damage with it, but that's now in southern Franklin County. The tornado warning is for northern Franklin County. There are no warnings in effect in Madison County right now. And then the only warning that's right here in the metro is for Decatur itself. It does not include Athens or Hartselle or Madison or Huntsville, but it's getting awfully close, and we will see what the National Weather Service is going to do with this. This has been a prolonged rotation with this storm. And you can see, by the way, the view live from Decatur from Storm 119 in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. That storm is tracking to the east. We'll put a longer track on. The possible tornado would now be just a touch east of Decatur, moving to the east at around 35 to 40 miles per hour. There are some of the communities in the path of it. UAH, the campuses out around the central part of the city of Huntsville, 744. Lacey Spring, about 745. Westbury neighborhood, about 748, South Huntsville. Now, there's not a warning for those communities yet, but this is your tap on the shoulder. If you're called out right there, this thing is going to be close to you in those time frames. So Triana, Huntsville International Airport, in the next 20 minutes, you've got a powerful storm that's had a history of producing tornadoes moving right towards you. South of there, into Winston County and Marion County, a tornado warning is in effect. This is for northern Winston County, Haleyville to Double Springs, over to Grayson. Alabama Highway 33 up to the county line. That's where you need to be in a safe place. A lot of heavy rain in southern Lawrence County and southeastern Franklin County, but the severe weather threat is south of Franklin and Lawrence counties with that particular storm. This is a good time to do a little bit of a reset here and show you where all of our watches and warnings are at the moment. A severe thunderstorm warning for southern Franklin County. A tornado warning in effect for Limestone and northern Morgan. A tornado warning in effect for Marion and Winston counties, and a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southern Franklin County, Alabama. That's in effect for another 3 minutes. That storm has basically moved out of Franklin County. Tornado watch is in effect until 10 o'clock for all the counties that are shaded in red. So although we have not talked much about Marshall or DeKalb or Jackson, there's good reason. And nothing's happened there yet. There's a watch in place because we think some of these storms could still be severe as they track across North Alabama into the northeast corner of the state. But in Scottsboro, Albertville, Gadsden, Fort Payne, Arab, Gunnersville, Grant, even southeast Madison County, Owens Crossroads, New Hope, and out toward Gurley, we've got our eyes on the storms that are to the west. And as they track eastbound, that's where our trouble could come from later this evening. We're watching Christina's live stream from Decatur. Looks like the power's on. That's a good sign as she's rolling right into, you can see the jacks there in Decatur. And as long as we're seeing street lights, I think we're doing pretty good. This thing might not have been on the ground the entire time. And that's obviously positive information. We're always hoping for the best in situations like this. Tornado warning still in effect here until 7:30 p.m. for the Decatur area. Tornado warning in effect for Winston County and Marion County until 7:45, and a tornado warning for Franklin County, Tennessee until 7:45 as well. So we're going to go into the storm that's over Decatur, and we'll start there and look at some of the storm attributes on it. First of all, we'll zoom in to southern Limestone, northern Morgan, and southwestern Madison County. There is the leading edge of it. This has had a persistent, what looks like to be a good solid hail core with it. Could be pea-size hail, could be up to quarter size or golf ball size. The tornado would be now on the east side of Decatur, moving eastbound towards southern Limestone County and southwestern Madison County. We'll look at the velocity here and see there's still broad but fairly strong rotation just east of Decatur. So if you were in your safe place in Decatur or Trinity, Austinville, Bassham, you are clear of that particular storm, but you're still under a tornado watch until 10 o'clock. You can see the heavy rain effect there. You saw some of the ponding on the road there where Christina and Storm 119 are located. Tremendous rainfall here could cause some flash flooding for us. Just as a reminder, the tornado warning is still in effect until 7:30 p.m. It looks like along this there might be a few spots where some strong straight line wind could develop as well. So we've got our eyes trained on that storm that's moving toward Madison County. There's the storm relative velocity, maybe not the greatest presentation of that. The shear rate is not as intense as it was. I'm encouraged by that. It's possible that we could get away with this just being a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Madison County, including most of central and south Huntsville. But we'll see what happens. We'll just track this as it's coming through. We're trying to give as much lead time as we can. Southwest of there, based on the Huntsville high top radar, the rotation that's in northern Winston County is not as intense as it once was. But let's look at the reflectivity. Even that has started to slow down just a bit. And one indicator that we can look at here, lightning. We can see the amount of lightning. And look, we've got lightning striking out around Moulton right now from two different storms, one that's close to Cortland that's not severe, and then another one that's down here that has a tornado warning on it close to Haleyville. Most of the lightning is probably coming from that storm, not from the one that's to the north. Look at all the lightning that's right here around Decatur. Wow, a tremendous amount of lightning popping here and there. In fact, let's go over to Alex Puckett with an update from the desk.
I just wanted to add, we've got some large hail falling in this thing as well, particularly around 565 right across the county line. This will be coming pretty close to Huntsville International Airport. Pretty strong signature right now of large hail with this storm. And we'll pop back on the reflectivity. And you can see there around Mooresville, and then ultimately that's going to continue to lift north and east towards Madison. There's no severe thunderstorm warning for Madison County yet. If you're watching us in the community of Madison, gusty winds, damaging straight line winds, and the potential for some pretty large hail with this storm as it continues to move off to the east. So Madison and points south of Interstate 565, Huntsville International Airport, this thing is going to be dropping likely some pretty large hail on top of the airport fairly soon. Jason?
So this very well could be turning out to be more of a severe thunderstorm issue than a tornado issue, but it's a little bit too early to say. So in Madison County, as Alex was mentioning, be prepared for high winds and hail moving into Madison, out over Huntsville International, the southwest part of Huntsville. Some of the fingers of Huntsville run almost down to Triana. So we're talking mainly west of Redstone Arsenal. That core of lightning is the same storm that produced what was likely a violent tornado in Tishomingo County, Mississippi, and western Calvert County in northwest Alabama. The tornado warning is in effect until 7:30. The storm itself is going to be out of Morgan County very soon. It's almost out of the county completely and more of a Limestone County issue. So Mooresville, Belmina, and then down around the County Line Road area just southwest of Huntsville International Airport. Strong indication here that we've got hail, strong gusty winds, and there still could be a tornado. It may be aloft, may not be quite down to the ground, could be more of a funnel cloud and a wall cloud, but it might drop a tornado at just about any point. So remember, the track this is taking is going to be more of a South Huntsville kind of track. We'll put the track on, show you where it's traveling, and I'm not tracking the hail here. I'm tracking where the possible tornado would be, where my finger starts right there, tracking eastward at about 35 miles per hour. You're going to see a lot of towns come on here. The Piedmont neighborhood in South Huntsville, 749. Westbury about the same time. Hampton Cove, this would be about 756. Doug Hill about 758. Brownsboro at 804. Maysville about 806. Marshall Space Flight Center about 20 minutes from now at about 7:39 p.m. Lacey Spring about 7:44, and then Grissom High School, South Huntsville, about 7:47. So it looks like we're back on I-565 with the meteorologist Christina Edwards, or I-65, one of the two. So she's trying to catch back up to this storm and get in on the backside of it so that we can see if there's anything down or any damage occurring at this time. I'm encouraged that the velocity is not as intense as it was about an hour and a half ago when this thing was producing what looked like a big tornado over Calvert County. There still might be enough spin here to drop a tornado at a moment's notice. That's why a tornado warning is in effect, and it looks like we have a brand new tornado warning for Madison County until 8 o'clock. So that's going to include all of South Huntsville, looks like about south of maybe Drake Avenue, I'll go in really close here so we can see. We're closer to Airport Road. So Airport Road and Johnson Road, Chelsea, Westbury, Bailey Cove Estates, Willowbrook, Bird Spring, the Medical District. You're a little far north to be in the warning, but you're awfully close to it. So you're looking at velocity right here. I'm going to show you the reflectivity. There's already rain falling in South Huntsville, Westbury down to Grissom High School, but the tornado is southwest of you right now. It's about to come over the southern part of Redstone Arsenal, Triana, Huntsville International Airport, and then most likely this will be between Airport Road and Farley. So think Ditto Landing, Farley Elementary School, up to Grissom High School, Sam's, Lowe's, Home Depot, out here around the Hazeland Square area, Weatherly Road. That's exactly where this is going. So from here, tracking northeast just like that toward the south part of the city of Huntsville. This will not affect downtown. It will not affect the city of Madison itself. If anything, it may be moving a little bit more toward the east than northeast at this point. A lot of these have been doing that on and off throughout the day. There is our storm information. The BTI is 2.9 on it. Grissom High School 752. Ditto Landing about 753. Hampton Cove, it would be near you about 803, and Owens Crossroads at around 8:05 p.m. Movement is east at close to 45 miles per hour. The storm itself has had a history of rotating for hours now. This has been going on since about 5:15. It started in North Mississippi, and now the thing is moving into southeast Madison, or southeast Limestone, southern Madison, and northern Morgan County. BTI now up to 3. And by the way, when we talk about BTI, this is what we mean. If you're getting those BTI messages on Live Alert 19, this is what that means. It's basically the risk of a tornado, taking radar data and looking at it from a lot of different angles, running some high-powered computer equipment on it, and ranking the storm based on the risk of it producing a tornado. If we're in the 2 to 4 range, that's enough for a tornado warning. It's a fairly low risk, but it may just be happening. 4 to 6, medium risk, 6 to 8, high risk. This is where we were with that Calvert County storm earlier. You were up in that 8 to 10 range. Remember, that's not a forecast. It's an analysis. It's really a picture of what's happening right now. So the current BTI with this is at 3.0. The storm is moving into southern Madison County as we speak. Huntsville International Airport, Triana, the Cambridge neighborhood, Lake Forest, large hail possible here, strong winds are expected, and then it tracks to the east-northeast toward Farley, Highway 231, the south end of Memorial Parkway from Farley Elementary School to around Grissom High School. Think Weatherly Road, Lily Flag Road, Whitesburg Drive, and then over into the eastern part of southeast Huntsville, Bucks Canyon, where the old Grissom High School used to be along Carl T. Jones, and then as that turns into Bailey Cove Road. So think about those communities too. You need to be in your safe place right now. Southeast Huntsville from around Airport Road south. I want you to be in your safe place right now. Tornado warning in effect until 8 o'clock for the central and southern parts of Huntsville, not including downtown or the medical district, but from around Airport Road southward. That's where our tornado warning is in effect. Let's extend the view out here just a little bit. We'll look at the severe thunderstorm warning in Franklin County, Tennessee. Tornado warning for Franklin County, Tennessee has been extended over into Marion County, so that storm is moving away from Winchester. The storm that was down to the south is still pretty strong in northern Winston County, but that will not impact Lawrence County. And good news over around Florence and Russellville and Red Bay. We are starting to see the back edge of this event take shape. The storms are not as strong northwest of Moulton right now. The strongest one on radar is this one that is coming into Huntsville right now. By the way, if you pulled off the highway at Huntsville Browns Ferry or at Alabama Highway 67 on I-65, the interstate should be good to go again. If you're on I-565 in West Huntsville, Madison, or eastern Limestone County, the tornado would likely be a little bit to the south of your location right now. So I wouldn't recommend driving it, but if you are not driving south into this thing, I think you're going to be okay from the perspective of a tornado right at this moment. I'm going to pull up Armor radar, and this is so close to the radar that it's going to be tough to see much. But Alex, go ahead. You've got some information.
I was just going to say to go ahead and pull up Armor because it looks like Maybe they went back off of it, but was going with all low-level scans there for a moment. We've got a pretty good view of that southern appendage there. That little appendage there near the river, that's going to be the area to watch, and that's going to be approaching Triana fairly soon. So it's right on the Morgan-Madison County line. Jason?
All right, good view right there, Alex. We'll come back to this one. Same view of the radar. There's the track on it. It's moving toward the east, and we'll look at that BTI number again. BTI not showing up on that one. Let's look at this one. Not much of an indication there. And then that one also. These are more of what we call severe skits. It's looking at potential of hail and high wind. The rotation is definitely there, but it's not quite as intense as it was back down the line. So that's encouraging. It's not by any means an all clear or a reason for you to go out of your safe place. You need to certainly be in a safe place right now in the Huntsville area, northern Morgan County, Lacey Spring, Valormosa Spring, north of Alabama Highway 36. A possible tornado would be right here around Bluff City to Triana to the Toluca community. And then over south part of Redstone Arsenal, out here around some of the testing ranges, and then coming northeast toward Ditto Landing, Farley, Fox Run, Camelot, Bucks Canyon, Green Mountain, the Burrows, Norton, right there, the Whitesburg Bridge, right in line for heavy rain. And that's where the tornado would be. This is live armor radar. We'll look at the velocity here. This is going to take just a second to pop on. You can see our circulation centered right there just northeast of Eccles Crossroads. This is the Morgan County side of the river. This is the Madison County side of the river. And it is tracking toward the east at close to 30 miles per hour. Looking down to the south just a little bit, you can see Valormosa Springs, Somerville. This will likely be just a little north of Somerville, but too close for comfort for Valormosa Spring and Lacey Springs. And then up toward the Ditto Landing area, Farley. You need to be in a safe place now, especially in a mobile home in southern Madison County, South Huntsville. I want you to be in a safe place. This is what we would call storm debris. I don't see any signs of a debris signature in this, and that's a positive thing, but we certainly need to watch it closely. The shear rate, not necessarily off the charts here either. So if we have anything down whatsoever, it is not showing up quite as readily as it did earlier with the views that were coming out of East Mississippi and into the northwest corner of Alabama. We've got meteorologist Christina Edwards' view up. She's still in the heavy rain. Christina, if you can hear me, tell me where you are and what you're seeing. I don't think we have Christina's audio, but you can see that she's out in the rain. She's in western Madison County right now, I believe, just based on some of the road signs that I've seen. So the threat of a tornado is south of Madison. It's south of the Marshall Space Flight Center. It is centered right on Triana right now. And by the way, we can give southeastern Limestone County a clear from this storm, but there is still a tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock for all of the counties that are highlighted in red. A tornado warning also in effect for northern Marshall County for this storm. We haven't talked much about that just yet because the storm is still so far away. I'm going to go over to Alex for just a moment with an update.
Yeah, Jason, it actually looks like this thing may be tightening up a little bit. Again, this is right on the Morgan-Madison County line, south of Triana, and I'm going to pop on the velocity here, and again, it may be looking a little bit more impressive. It's still somewhat broad, but there is a circulation there, and if you're watching us from Triana back towards Lacey Springs, we want you in a safe place. Owens Crossroads and New Hope, we want you in a safe place right now. So we also have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just come out. That's going to include downtown Huntsville. That's going to include, it's going to be from downtown Huntsville east into Jackson County. And that's going to include places like Skyline in Jackson County, Gurley, Ryland, downtown Huntsville. That's going to be probably primarily for the strong wind threat and the hail threat that this storm poses. And I'll show you, before I send it back, just to talk about that hail threat. This is something we use to look for storm debris, but it can be useful to find other things in the storm as well. what we've got there is not debris, but the radar is having a lot of trouble getting the scan past the big hail that's up here. So there's likely some hail in this storm in southern Madison County, and it may be fairly sizable hail as well. And we've got that sort of appendage there on the southwestern flank of the storm that does have some spin associated with it that could potentially develop into a tornado. And again, maybe looking just a little bit more organized, Jason, than it did a while ago. So if you're watching us right now along the Morgan-Madison County line, we want you in a safe place. Ditto Landing, Owens Crossroads, you need to be in a safe place right now. This is headed your way. So if you're watching us there, we want you in a safe place. Again, everybody in the tornado warning, we want you to get in a safe place right now and treat this thing seriously. This is a thunderstorm that has been rotating and has had a warning associated with it from East Mississippi to now. This has been, at least so far, unless something changes, the storm of the day. It has been the big storm today and has just been something that will not go away. And sometimes these persistent storms can be the ones that end up dropping several tornadoes. So with that in mind, we want you to take this thing seriously. If you're watching us in downtown Huntsville, you don't necessarily have to go through your tornado precautions, but you need to go ahead and make sure you're indoors and in a safe place because of the threat for strong winds, as well as the potential for some hail as well. But Jason, at this point, I don't see anything that necessarily suggests a tornado is on the ground, but certainly there's enough there to be concerned and that one could develop at any moment.
Right, and just as a reminder, these warnings are extending out a long way. So Jackson County has a severe thunderstorm warning. There's a little fraction of northwest Marshall County, just west of Grant and just north of Claysville, north of the dam, up around the Hebron community that's technically in this tornado warning. The tornado itself is right here on the Madison-Morgan County line. So if you've gone through your tornado precaution in downtown or in Madison, you don't have to do that at this point. This is going to be a very far south Huntsville issue. It's well south of Airport Road, although that is some extremely heavy rain and potentially some hail falling right over Patton Road at Maston Road, and this is going to be coming in right along Airport Road and into Weatherly, toward Whitesburg Estates, toward English Village, Bird Spring, Bailey Cove. You see Martin Road is right there. So there's Patton, there's Martin, there's the gate, there's US 231. This is that new interchange that is just southwest of Whitesburg Baptist Church. So right around the church from there southward, that's where the tornado threat would be. From around Martin Road northward, this is mainly just heavy rain and potentially some gusty winds. I think the heaviest rain, though, is going to come right in on Grissom High and then wind up over Lowe's and Home Depot, and then come across toward Lily Flag Road and then move into places like Bucks Canyon, Camelot, Fox Run, and then Hampton Cove, and then, of course, Green Mountain sits right here on top of that. I want to go back over to the high top radar so that we can continue to see one continuous sweep line instead of seeing all the different levels coming in from Armor. That's where we have hail. The tornadic part of the storm is right on the Tennessee River, northwest of Lacey Spring, and it's tracking to the east at about 35 miles per hour. So here's your storm track on the tornadic part of the storm. That would be in northern Marshall County in about 45 minutes. So Grant, you're about 8:13 p.m., so maybe a little less than 45 minutes, closer to 30 minutes. Woodville about 8:12. New Hope about 8 o'clock. Farley at 7:45, so less than 10 minutes to Farley. I would say it might even be closer than that. It could be more than like 5 minutes before it gets to Farley Elementary School or down toward Ditto Landing, right along the Whitesburg Bridge area. Ditto Landing 7:44. I think it might be less than that. It might be closer to 7:40 or 7:41. Lacey Spring about 7:40 as well. We've got very heavy rain falling in downtown Huntsville. I want to show you what it looks like outside the station right now here in the middle of downtown. We'll pull in the camera. We can't see that much out there because it's mainly just a straight down rain. By the way, at Huntsville International, we've cooled to 65. The dew point is 63 and the wind is from the west. And that would be a signal that the severe weather threat is lessening behind this particular supercell. remember, there's a tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock. So even though we have a tornado watch in effect, let me rephrase that, since we still have a tornado watch in effect, I still want you to be on your toes. So Jackson County, Marshall County, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Jackson, tornado warning in effect for northern Marshall and the southern part of Madison County until 8 o'clock. That's what the storm has been doing. It's transitioning more into what looks like just a big mass of rain and wind and some small hail embedded in there. But still, I think there's potential for a tornado on the southern fringe of that near the Tennessee River along the Morgan-Madison County line, and then that would ultimately affect the northern part of Marshall County. This is north of Arab. It's north of Guntersville, tracking just like this. New Hope, Grant, Claysville, Guntersville Dam, Hebron, those communities are right in the path of what could be a tornado that is moving across the northern edge of Morgan, southern edge of Madison County. So one more time, downtown Huntsville, the danger is passing. It's south of us in the middle of town, down toward the southern part of the city, south of Airport Road, south of Lily Flag Road, and south of Weatherly Road. It's taken that jog down toward northern Morgan County, which is when we put those fans on there, we let them go out and show some uncertainty in the overall path. You'll notice as we put the track on, that it's not just simply a straight line. You wind up with a fan like that to show that this is where it could go if it tracked a little north. This is where it could go if it tracked a little bit south. And even on the southernmost potential here, it's north of Guntersville and north of Arab, north of Old Leander, staying well north of communities like Eva and Florette and Falkville. It is mainly a far northern, southern Madison County issue. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, from downtown Huntsville eastward across northern Jackson County. Let's go to Alex.
Jason, this thing's starting to ramp up a little bit more, and we're starting to see that rotation look a little bit more significant. So if you're watching us in Farley, Ditto Landing, Lacey Springs, you need to be in a safe place, and this is the reason why. We're seeing that circulation tighten up. In the next scan, that looks really like a strong circulation that is going to be near Lacey Springs and Ditto Landing, crossing Highway 231 right now. And we'll look for a debris signature. We don't have one, but that is a strong circulation right now. This thing has really tightened up over the past 5 minutes. So if you're watching us, Lacey Springs, Ditto Landing, Farley, and then out towards Owens Crossroads. If you're watching us near McCutcheon Loop Road, if you're watching us near Old River Road, if you are out towards Burroughs, Norton, Hobbs Island, we want you in a safe place right now because this thing is heading your way. Again, that's what we're looking at right there. That's the tighter circulation that has popped up here on the most recent scan. We've been watching that sort of trend up over the past couple of scans, and you can see we're starting to pop some of those dark reds on the shear rate, so an indication that this is ramping up. So this may be trying to drop another tornado near Lacey Springs right now. And near Highway 231 south of Ditto Landing. So if you're watching us there on the far northern fringe of Morgan County, far southern fringe of Madison County, you need to be in a safe place right now because this thing is starting to ramp back up. Jason?
Working on getting some information out of the Decatur area. Sounds like some trees are down. Estimated to be around 70 to 90 mile per hour winds, but I'm waiting on another message here to determine where that happened, if it was around Hillsboro or Decatur. So stand by for that information. But the track of the storm that we're watching in Madison County, you can see it there. Owens Crossroads about 7:51. Honeycomb in Marshall County at 8:05. Woodville about 8:09. That's the northernmost part of where that tornadic circulation could go, I think would be Woodville. This will likely pass south of the Scottsboro area, but like Alex said, it is ramping up a little bit. The circulation is a bit stronger than it was a few minutes ago, and that's how this storm has been throughout its entire life cycle. It is entirely possible that we could have gone for miles without a tornado, and then suddenly one develops out of this storm. That often happens with supercells like this. They go through a life cycle where they produce for a long time, Then they go for a long time without producing anything, and we might be back to the point where we start seeing another tornado. I want to go to Armour here. We'll get the live view on it, and as we pop that on, you can see a hook right there coming up into Lacey Spring along Highway 36. Lacey Spring up to Highway 231. You need to be in a safe place. That is a higher level scan right there. We've got strong indication of rotation over Lacey Spring and Ditto Landing. If there's a tornado down, I think it may be on the Morgan County side of the river, moving toward the southern edge of Madison County. So still, Farley High School from Bailey Cove Road and Green Cove Road south to Ditto Landing, and then over toward Green Mountain, right in here. That's where the mountain is, right up along the river. Of course, Brindley Mountain, right about where the road is closed. From there, up 231 into Lacey Spring proper, out around the Generac area, Generac facility, where the store right there, nice store on Highway 231 in Lacey Spring where they sell the generators. That's where this thing's going. Off Highway 36, right there toward Generac, and then right along the gas stations, what used to be called Gasoline Alley. I guess some may still refer to it as Gasoline Alley, even though most of those stations are closed now. But that's where your circulation is, Lacey Spring, tracking eastward into southern Madison County. Owens Crossroads and New Hope would be the next communities in line once this jumps over the mountaintop and passes into Madison County. Morgan City, technically you're in the warning. Union Hill, technically you're in the warning. But northern Marshall County, see Guntersville Dam right there? So the rotation is going to pass a little north of Guntersville Dam. That's it right there over Lacey Spring. Strong indication that a tornado could be down on the ground near the foot of Brindley Mountain, nearing Highway 231. Large hail is possible in Owens Crossroads and Hampton Cove, but the tornadic threat is a little southwest of you. We'll go back to High Top and look at this from a different perspective. There you see the same kind of thing. Rotation right there over Lacey Spring, crossing the river. That's the northern edge of Marshall County. In fact, that's the Marshall-Morgan line. This is the Madison-Marshall County line. This is very rural terrain right here on the southern edge of Madison County. But as soon as it jumps over the mountain, we're looking at Highway 431, New Hope, Owens Crossroads. You need to be in a safe place now. If you are in Huntsville, some of the communities around Westbury, Grissom, English Village, into Bucks Canyon, you can relax a little bit. This thing is past south of you at this point. Even the heaviest rain is starting to taper off. So if you've gone to your safe place along Memorial Parkway or Weatherly Road or along areas out here around Grissom High School, Lily Flag Road, Airport Road, into Westbury, you can come out of that safe place right now. The threat of a tornado is now south of you. The same thing for Triana, for Madison, for areas on Redstone Arsenal. The risk of a tornado is now beyond you, and it's in southern Madison County and far northern Marshall County. This storm will keep tracking to the east at about 35 miles per hour, and as it does, we could have a tornado drop out of this thing at just about any time. 35-mile-per-hour storm track is going to get it toward New Hope at about 7:59, Grant at about 8:12, Aspel at 8:22, and then around the Asbury community, maybe as far southeast as Asbury by 8:29. Notice all these communities are north of the city of Guntersville. They're north of Albertville and Boaz. This is a far northern Marshall County issue, closer to Grant as opposed to Guntersville. A far southeast Madison County issue, Owens Crossroads and New Hope, as opposed to more of a Hampton Cove or a Doug Hill or a Gurley kind of issue. So there's the tornadic circulation. We'll look at the base velocity. And yeah, Alex has talked about this thing ramping up and cycling just a bit. I'd certainly think there's some high wind here. A tornado could develop at any moment northeast of Morgan City, over southern Madison County and northern Marshall County. I want to look at the wind speed here. So that's a 79-mile-per-hour wind. And at that height from the radar, I want to get a feel for just how high the beam is right there where we're looking at. So that's about 2,000 feet off the ground. So about 2,000 feet up, 79 miles per hour. And by the way, the report that I got just a few moments ago about the trees down northwest side of Decatur off Highway 24, about 50 to 60 trees down in northwest Decatur from that storm. So, Alex, if you would report that to the National Weather Service, about 50 to 60 trees down northwest side of Decatur off Highway 24. So we may have had a tornado in northwest Decatur, and that storm is now here moving into New Hope. So if you're in New Hope, Highway 431, out here at Oak Grove, Hobbs Island, the Burrows, Incline, you can see this is the path around the base of Green Mountain right here to the Elon community, and then into New Hope, Main Drive right here. This is coming right toward downtown New Hope and New Hope High School. We have had a history of damage with this storm. I want to look at the lightning output, and look at that. That is a tremendous amount of lightning. Often with lightning, we can see how intense an updraft is. And since the lightning output has not dropped off with this storm at all, this is it. This is where we may have a tornado down right now. Alex?
Jason, just wanted to note that the tornado watch has been extended for Jackson, DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, Blount, Cherokee counties until 10 p.m. So they're going to add those counties into this watch.
All right. Thanks very much, Alex. So a tornado watch now in effect for Cherokee, Etowah, and Blount counties in the eastern part of North Alabama. Those counties were not in the watch earlier. In fact, let's just look at where the watch stands right now so we can give everybody a picture of where we are. Several counties in southern Tennessee have been cleared, but look, North Georgia and part of southeast Tennessee has been added. You've got a tornado warning up here north of Chattanooga. The only warnings we have in North Alabama right now are Morgan, Madison, and Marshall for a tornado warning, and Madison and Jackson for a severe thunderstorm warning. We will likely see some of the counties to the northwest be dropped out of this tornado watch soon, but we are not in the habit of clearing you from a severe weather threat until the National Weather Service has cleared your county. So once they do that, we will let you know, but it certainly looks like the greatest threat of a tornado is now from Huntsville south and east across North Alabama and then across parts of East Tennessee closer to Chattanooga. We'll take the lightning off because you just can't see anything underneath it. If I'm at Owens Crossroads right now, I want to be in a safe place immediately. Watch this over the last few minutes, last 30 minutes. Watch how that's ramped up. It may be a little hard for you to see, but we go from more green to this green and then gray shade where the wind is moving opposite of each other. We've got strong wind shear there. That's a good indication that we have rotation in progress. And as we look at it from the storm relative product, watch this. You'll be able to see the rotation a little more clearly, and that is a stronger rotation than we had earlier. It's a bit elongated. It's not as obvious as it was when it was in Calvert County 2.5 hours ago, but it is a very, very strong storm that is tracking east into the New Hope community. If you're in Honeycomb, if you're in Grant, Highway 79, up on the mountaintop here, you need to be in a safe place too, because look, tornadoes don't care about mountains. Sometimes it actually enhances them to go up and down those ridge lines. So if you're in New Hope, Honeycomb, Grant, don't fall into some false sense of security that says, well, the mountain will stop it or the river will stop it. That's not how this works. Sometimes they play into causing them to strengthen. Sometimes they play in them to weaken. We don't know all the answers yet. So as a course of least regret, I would rather you not fall into the conventional wisdom of, well, it's never done this before, and let's just go ahead and take the course of least regret here and be as safe as possible. Possible tornado just right around Owens Crossroads in New Hope. It's going to cross 431 in a matter of a couple of minutes. The severe thunderstorm warning has been trimmed away from downtown Huntsville. It's a lot quieter outside now, but look at this. We got more heavy rain coming into South Huntsville. We've already had 2.5 inches of rain down around Airport Road today. We're going to keep adding to that, so more heavy rain is likely. I'm watching a couple of different things here. We've got meteorologist Christina Edwards up in Storm 119. It looks like she might be on Memorial Parkway right now or 565. A little hard to tell, but you can see driving through Huntsville, it's wet. We still have a lot of rain falling, but the severe weather threat from this set of storms is over for downtown and for Madison. So wherever you are, if you're downtown Huntsville, Madison, Meridianville, the risk of a tornado or a severe thunderstorm is ending pretty quickly from this particular set of storms, but it is still fairly strong. A strong storm with a potential tornado here near Owens Crossroads, and that is tracking toward the east. There's our reflectivity and there's our velocity. The couplet now a little bit stronger. It is almost halfway between New Hope and Owens Crossroads. If you're in New Hope, Main Drive, Lyons Road, and then 431 into Owens Crossroads, this is south of Hampton Cove. So think about Publix. Think about where Cecil Ashburn Drive becomes Sutton Road. This is south of those points. Owens Crossroads here, New Hope right down here. Strong winds are possible even outside of where the tornadic circulation would be. We can come back full screen here. I just wanted to be able to see what Christina was looking at there from Storm Hunter. They are not in that storm. They are still in the closer to the downtown Huntsville area. Large area of rotation right here. There's the storm relative velocity. Here's the shear rate. A little bit of an S curve there. There's, again, not the same look that we had in Calvert County and then Tishomingo County, or even with one of the storms in Franklin County a little earlier. But this is still enough that you could get some down trees, down power lines. And if there's a tornado down, if you're in a mobile home, you don't need to be in that. You need to be in a sturdy shelter ASAP. Northern Marshall County, the tornado warning does not go for Grant, but if you're in a mobile home out here around Grant, up on the mountaintop, or even down in the valley here, just to the south of Woodville, I want you to go ahead and consider moving to sturdy shelter, moving to a neighbor's house. You only have about 10 to 15 minutes before that storm that's near New Hope would be close to Grant or between Grant and Woodville. I want to go in close here and look at some of the communities like Woodall Place, and then up toward Butler Mill, Mill Road, Rocky Ridge, Cathedral Caverns. You see Cavern Road right there. You're eventually going to be in the path of that storm, Swearingen, Oak Grove, down the line coming towards you as well. Alex.
Get a new tornado warning that's going to be extended for the rest of, or it's going to include southeastern Madison County, northern Marshall County, and southern Jackson County from Woodville to Section and points south. So that warning is going to come in just a moment, but just wanted you to know they're going to extend that tornado warning on into Jackson County and through the rest of northern Marshall County.
All right, just looking through a few Twitter reports from in Huntsville, there are quite a few power outages in the city right now. Power outage southeast Huntsville. There are power outages in Athens as well. Airport Road and the Parkway, the power is out. Jones Valley is dark right now. Tanya Hendricks tweeting that to us. So a lot of power outages in South Huntsville. And look at that shear rate. We look at the color scale here. One reason I like to show this is it takes away a lot of the clutter. You have green, you have red, you have yellow. We're moving up the scale from weak to strong to extreme. That's some pretty strong wind shear that's right over New Hope right now. We called out downtown New Hope and New Hope High School. If you're there, I hope you've gone to your safe place because this thing has really started to ramp up. Nebo, Butler Mill, Woodall Place. We're going to get that tornado warning for the northern part of Marshall County here pretty soon. It has not been issued to the point that it's on the map yet, but they're going to continue issuing down the line, so it might even touch part of Jackson County too. So be prepared for that. Your Live Alert 19 is about to alert you to a tornado warning for northern Marshall, and then we've got a severe thunderstorm warning because we've got high wind right here out around Killingsworth Cove in eastern Madison County that's tracking into western Jackson County. I'll put a storm track on that part of the storm for you. In fact, let's go back to the reflectivity and track it out that way. That almost looks like some rotation that's starting to develop there. Look at the almost a kidney bean-like shape. When we look at the velocity, sure enough, there is some rotation starting to develop there too. So we might end up with another tornado warning here for western Jackson County at the very minimum from Gurley up toward Killingsworth Cove over to Holly Tree. This is Alabama Highway 65 going through the Paint Rock Valley. I would prefer that you inch toward a safe place pretty quickly if you live in a mobile home out here in the Paint Rock Valley, because there might be some really strong wind here. And look, whether the wind is blowing in a straight line at 70 or 80 miles per hour or whether it's swirling around in a funnel, it's still the same amount of force. It doesn't matter if it's spinning or if it's just moving straight ahead. And I think there's potential here that we could have some very high wind with this moving toward Holly Tree and toward Trenton, toward Princeton, and toward Skyline. That's why we have the severe thunderstorm warning up for Jackson County. But there's our storm that has had the history of producing a tornado in northwest Alabama. We know that it's done some damage around Decatur, about 50 to 60 trees blown down close to Highway 24. And the rotation still intensifying a little bit now that it's east of New Hope. So Grant, Honeycomb, you need to be on the lookout for this. You're likely to see strong winds at the very minimum, very strong winds coming with this, as well as the threat of a tornado. A lot of wind shear happening here and a lot of wind shear. Look, this storm may be becoming more dominant in eastern Madison County. If you're around Killingsworth Cove, you need to, the storm is really past you, but it'd be a good idea to go ahead and just stay indoors for a little while longer until this thing is completely past Killingsworth, and then it's moving toward Holly Tree. I want to put a storm track on that part of the storm where we have the greatest wind shear. And getting closer to the radar, sometimes that can trip the shear a little bit, but if you look at the velocity, there's something going on right there. There's something suspicious to that. Severe thunderstorm warning, probably good enough to cover it. It may not be an actual tornado, but it may be some strong winds that are tracking eastbound into Jackson County. So let's track the strongest part of that storm across northern Jackson. That should be approaching Highway 72 in less than 45 minutes between Hollywood and Stevenson. So Hollywood would be at about 8:29, Pisgah at about 8:42. Pisgah's in DeKalb County. The strongest part of that's going to stay north of Pisgah, we think, but anywhere in this zone where we've got these thunderstorms in progress that are a part of this larger overall complex, anywhere in here, we might wind up with some kind of a strong damaging straight line wind event or potentially even a tornado. So still a tornado warning in northwestern Marshall and southeastern Madison County until 8 p.m. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is not extended across northern Marshall and southern Jackson. It could go as far to the east as Section. This thing's had a tornado warning on it for a good 2.5 hours now. It started over close to Booneville, Mississippi, and now it is in New Hope and Grant, Alabama. Strong straight line winds, heavy rain, and hail are possible in this. The heaviest of the rain is on top of Woodville and Grant right now. Owens Crossroads, the danger of a tornado has now passed to your southeast. But look, there's another storm behind this. The lightning output with it, not as impressive. But over here, that's just continuous lightning in southeast Madison County. And that's what's moving into northern Marshall County, too. And we've got strikes as far away as, it looks like Union Grove from that storm. So you've got a tornado that's up here on the Madison County side of the river, and lightning, cloud-to-ground lightning striking as far away as Union Grove. And then there's more lightning embedded within this that's moving over South Huntsville in an area where we could end up with some flash flooding. Let's look at Morgan County, Falkville, Eva, down into northwest Cullman County. There's heavy rain falling there. We've got scattered showers, no thunderstorms, though, in Lawrence and in Franklin County. But you get right up here close to the Lawrence-Lauderdale County line. There is some lightning popping with that particular cell. These are non-severe thunderstorms that are in progress in Rogersville and in Coxey and just north of Cortland. So these aren't severe. The ones that are farther to the east are severe, and the lightning path on that one that's close to New Hope, that is extremely impressive. So here's our new tornado warning. It does include a part of DeKalb County, a part of Jackson County, including Rainsville, Sylvania, Henniger, Section, Fife. Looks like Bucks Pocket is in that, the community of Grant, Swearingen, and then Langston. You're also in this tornado warning. The reflectivity, that's what you were just looking at. Here's the base velocity. I'm going to turn the lightning off so that you can actually see what's happening underneath there. You can see the blinking red box. There are several spots on this broad rotation where a tornado could develop. So be on your toes. You need to be in a safe place right now in Grant, Kennemer Cove, just south of Grant, close to the base of the mountain, right along the Tennessee River, Langston to Section. Langston's in the valley. Section is at the peak of the mountain, right on, well, really on the more the brow of the mountain, not necessarily the peak. Grove Oak, Bucks Pocket State Park. If you know someone who's camping out at Bucks Pocket, hopefully they've got cell phone signal. Let them know they need to move to a safe place. One of the bathrooms out there at the state park would be a great place to be right now, as opposed to being in a tent or in a camper. High wind and potential for a tornado coming through right there. The storm relative velocity product, you can see there's broad rotation here. It's not the same kind of look that we had earlier. Let's look at the track of this. Has been impressive. This goes all the way back across Morgan County, Limestone County, and now moving into Marshall County. And if we extended it back even beyond that, we could go back 6 to 10 hours here and look at storm track data for a long way. But this thing started near Boonville, Mississippi, produced a very large tornado which caused some injuries in Tishomingo County. Okay, speaking of Tishomingo County, we do have some pictures of that right now, so let's go to those. This is the Dollar General. That's where some of the injuries were reported. And look at that. That's significant damage. This was a large tornado that hit the community of Tishomingo. That's and you can see some folks right there standing with umbrellas trying to rescue some of the other people. That's another view of it. You can see the metal bent on that sign, the tree that has kind of been broken up right there on the side of the road. We don't know exactly how strong this thing was just yet. That's going to be something that the National Weather Service in Memphis will look into. They will actually be the ones that judge how strong that tornado was. But right now, our focus is going to be over northeast Alabama. The Dollar General right there against what you see in Tishomingo County. So you've got tornado warning in effect now for northeast Alabama. Let's go back to the radar. So we've seen all those pictures. We'll get back to that a little bit later. So we've got our strong storm that's right here. You can see our tornado warning right here going through southern Jackson County, western DeKalb County. This does not include downtown Henniger. It doesn't actually include Pisgah right there on Sand Mountain in Jackson County, but you can see it's close. So it's very, very close to those communities. If you're around Pisgah or Henniger, be on your guard because this thing could ramp up pretty quickly and come your direction too. You're at least going to get some rain out of it. So Sylvania, Rainsville, Fife, strong storm coming in your direction. Tornado warning is in effect until 8:45. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for western Jackson County, including Skyline, Princeton, Holly Tree, and Pleasant Groves. High wind coming through here. The hail potential seems to have dropped off quite a bit. I don't see as much hail in the radar signature. And we're looking straight down to the map here. The radar is not suggesting that we have any hail right now, and that's obviously a positive thing, but there certainly may be some strong wind with it, especially on the southern flank of the storm down here around Holly Tree and Pleasant Groves up on the mountain from Highway 65 over toward Alabama Highway 79, Larkinsville to Skyline. Strong wind coming through here. I'm going to zoom the map out just a little bit. We'll put the shear rate on. Closer to the radar, sometimes that shear rate can look a little hotter, maybe a little higher than it really is. So I don't want to get overly concerned about that because there's not really much of a pattern to it. That really indicates that there's just a lot of wind embedded within the storm, which is a different problem altogether from a tornado. But still, impactful weather coming across northern Jackson County. This will be close to the Pisgah area and then out around Flat Rock between 8:30 and 8:50 p.m. Stevenson about 8:44, Pisgah about 8:33, Skyline about 8:16, Hollywood at about 8:30. So there you see, that's the Jackson-DeKalb County line. Pisgah, Henniger, Ider not in the warning. Sylvania, Rainsville 5 section, Langston, you are in the warning. That looks like strong straight line wind almost just based on the curvature. It's more of a bow echo over northern Marshall. The velocity here still suggesting that there might be rotation, but now I'm thinking this might be more straight line wind than anything else. And Alex, you're nodding your head. I'll let you chime in on that.
Yeah, Jason, I've got the storm relative velocity. It's going to look a little different, but it's the same type of product pulled up. And again, I think it shows it even a little bit better there, that bowing shape to it. What you've got here is just a wall of wind that's moving through northern Marshall County right now. That's going to move through southern Jackson County and then ultimately into western DeKalb County. But even along that, something could quickly organize and spin up. So the tornado warning still remains in effect for northern Marshall County, far southern Jackson County, and then western DeKalb County. As Jason said, this does not include Fort Payne. This does not include downtown Henniger, but for some folks who have a Henniger address, you may be in the warning if you're on the west side of town. Sylvania, Rainsville, Fife, Section, Grant, and as Jason said, Bucks Pocket State Park. You want to be in a safe place as well. This is all pushing east, really more east-southeast. This has been moving a little bit further to the right of due east, and that's something that we watch out for the potential for these things to start spinning up and producing tornadoes. I will note it looks like, and I'm going to switch back over here and we'll take a look. It looks like we may have lost Lauderdale County out of the tornado watch. Hopefully we will get more of these counties clipped off later on this evening, but Lauderdale County, you have been removed from the tornado watch, and hopefully we get several more of those counties before long. But as Jason says, we're not in the business of giving you the true all clear until the Weather Service drops the tornado watch. But again, Jason, I would agree that at this point both storms look like the primary threat is damaging straight line winds, which is still a big threat. It is something that it really doesn't matter if a tree falls on your house because a tornado knocked it down, or if straight line winds knocked it down. You still got a tree in your house. So take this seriously. We don't want to underplay this, and we still want you to get in your tornado safe place if you're in Grant, if you're in Section, Rainsville. But I do think we may be sort of transitioning here from more of a tornado threat to more of a straight line wind threat at this point, and potentially a bit of a flooding threat as well. I don't know if we can pull up Christina's shot on Storm Hunter, and we don't necessarily have to talk to her, but she's been going through, she's been driving down the road, and there have been some spots that have looked a little bit flooded. Certainly she's been going through some spots where there's been a little bit of water on the roadway, and it looks like we just lost her shot there, but it has definitely been, we've seen a ton of rain. We saw a ton of rain this morning, and we're seeing a ton of rain now. So we may have some sporadic flooding issues popping up across North Alabama as we head through the rest of the evening as well. Jason?
Okay, Alex, you were talking about Christina's shot. Let's go ahead and take hers full. This is in South Huntsville. Looks like she's on one of the service roads at Memorial Parkway. And if I think she's at Weatherly Road, I'm not sure. That is at Weatherly Road. Okay, so that's right there where the old Popeyes was. That Popeyes closed. Yeah, huge power outage in South Huntsville. Greg, do you have information about that you want to bring in?
No, I don't have any new information of that other than Brad Klasgens, who works for us in the sales department, emailed us a while ago and said where he lives, there's a big power outage. So we don't have the scope of this yet. We don't have an email from Huntsville Utilities, but just from anecdotally, it seems pretty big at this point.
Okay, so she just passed Weatherly, so she's passing in front of Home Depot, and so that's on the right, that's the big overpass, and you can see you can go to Whitesburg Drive to the left, that's Hazeland Road to the right. There's some lights on down to the south. It looks like maybe south of the Taco Bell right there on the Parkway at Meadowbrook, the lights are back on. So this is from Meadowbrook Drive up to Airport Road, a pretty significant power outages. You can see the sign right there. So she's on the service road southbound. You can see the Lily flag sign. So from about Meadowbrook Drive south, you've got power, at least in this view. But from Meadowbrook north, it is, okay, there's the power outage map right now. All the reds indicate a higher number of people without power. Then there's sporadic here and there, but we talked about the storm that was toward Killingsworth Cove. There are several power outages being reported out that way too. So let's go back to the radar. You can see Christina back in an area where there is electricity. A tornado warning is in effect for Jackson County and for DeKalb County as well as northern Marshall County until 8:45 p.m. Alex.
Few reports coming in now that there may be some extraneous WIA alerts. So that's the automatic alert that goes to your phone. Some folks maybe in Coleman County getting these, some folks in Franklin County, Tennessee getting these right now. The only tornado warning we've got is for southern Jackson County, northern Marshall County, and western DeKalb County in northeast Alabama. So this does not include places like Holly Pond. It doesn't include anywhere in Franklin County, Tennessee right now. That's the only tornado warning we've got. So if you're tuning in, trying to get more information, that's the one tornado warning we've got for a circulation that's near Grant pushing east into southern Jackson County and parts of western DeKalb County. So if you're watching us in Grant, Section, Fife, Rainsville, you need to be in a safe place right now. But if you're watching us in locations in Coleman County or somewhere outside of that tornado warning, that's the only tornado warning we've got, and then the severe thunderstorm warning for western Jackson County with likely some strong winds moving through Skyline right now. Jason?
All right, yeah, strong winds are the primary concern. I think this tornado warning is still valid because there's rotation showing up here, but the high wind threat may end up being a bigger issue coming on Sand Mountain and eventually down toward Lookout Mountain too. Fort Payne not in a warning. We do have a tornado warning here for southern Jackson and western DeKalb County. This is a significant weather situation. We've had a lot of damage reported down the line from this. A lot of power outages reported in the city of Huntsville. So as it's tracking east, there's still a lot of high wind energy within this. We'll go to the shear rate, and it, again, not the same kind of shear that was once a part of the storm, but a lot of high wind likely coming toward Langston, Section, and Rainsville, and that will keep on coming across DeKalb County too. And we make this promise, anytime there's a tornado warning, we're going to stick with it here to make sure we take care of everyone equally. Just because it's past Huntsville doesn't mean that we're going to drop coverage, even though the storm does not look as strong. There's still potential here that a tornado could develop and that lives could be in jeopardy. So we'll keep on tracking the storm for you right here. The storm track on it, right on top of Lake Gunnersville, tracking eastbound at about 36 miles per hour. Sylvania, Rainsville 5, Fort Payne, Henniger in the path of high wind and heavy rain between now and 9 p.m. Now, I'll say this, if there are no more damage reports from this over Marshall or southern Jackson or western DeKalb, then I would say there's a high likelihood that our severe weather threat will rapidly decline around here, and we might be able to go back to programming sometime around maybe 8:45 or 9 o'clock once this is over. I want to go to the tornado watch graphic and show you who is in and who is out right now. Severe thunderstorm warning in Jackson County, tornado warning for southern Jackson, northern Marshall, and western DeKalb County. Notice Lauderdale no longer lit up in red. You got a few southern Tennessee counties here, Wayne, Lawrence, and Giles, that are no longer under the tornado watch. But then Morgan and Cullman and Marshall still in the watch. Etowah, Cherokee, and Blunt are also still in it. Madison County, even though we think our threat is declining pretty quickly, I don't think it's really a major situation for the rest of the evening. Until this watch is dropped, we will not give any all clears. And I think the reason that they're not dropping the watch yet is because there are still them could become severe. So the tornado watch, it's in effect until 10 o'clock, will likely remain that way until it is certain that none of these other thunderstorms over northwest Alabama or down toward the central part of the state become severe and track up into the Tennessee Valley region. So heavy rain and thunderstorms continue over northeast Alabama. That storm is the same one that has had a history of producing tornadoes across northwest Alabama. It's produced some damage in Decatur and in Huntsville, and the lightning with it, if we were just looking at lightning alone, that's what would stand out as the most intense thunderstorm of all. The velocity product here not showing the same kind of rotation that it did earlier, but there's danger in this storm, and it's, I think, mostly from straight line wind right now, but that straight line wind could be greater than 60 to 80 miles per hour, and there might be a tornado developing in there too at just about any moment. Alex.
Jason, I just wanted to point out, you showed those storms back in, still into parts of northwest Alabama and parts of East Mississippi. We've actually got some thunderstorms that have been popping up near the Mississippi River. Now, the good news with these is they're in an environment right now that really hasn't seen that many thunderstorms today. Our environment, by the time those get here, should be worked over. So I would not anticipate those surviving as they push into East Mississippi. But Jason, as you said, with the storm still ongoing for a good chunk of northwest Alabama, still dealing with some heavier thunderstorms. That's why that watch is still in place. But even out west towards eastern Arkansas, still some thunderstorms popping up. This is a big, potent storm system that we've been dealing with today.
Right, and as long as a watch is in place, we are not giving any all clears. As long as a warning like this is in place, we're not going back to regular programming because we're not going to turn our backs on a situation that could be very dangerous. And on Sand Mountain, we have a history of these things not showing great signs of rotation. They run into the edge of the mountaintop, and then suddenly they go into rotation again. So even though it's weaker now than it was, there's still some room for it to strengthen again. And we're not pulling for it to do that. We're not hoping it does that. But I think that as long as we have this warning in progress, it's the best idea to keep it there, even if it doesn't have that same look right now. It has had a history of doing a lot of damage in both Decatur and Huntsville. This is the same storm that produced a large tornado in Calvert County and in Tishomingo County, Mississippi. They cycle. They go back and forth. Sometimes they are rotating more rapidly. Other times they are not quite as significant. But let's go back through who's in and who's out of the warning. Dutton, Section, Rainsville, Sylvania, the western edge of Henniger, out around Lacey Grove. You're in the warning. Jackson County, just south of Pisgah, right along, it looks like from Section to Dutton along Highway 40, and then from 40 up on the south side of Pisgah, that's about where the warning stops. So that's where your blinking red light is. For Live Alert 19 users, some of you got a warning, some of you didn't, and it will depend on where you are relative to that line right there. A tornado warning is in effect until 8:45 for Jackson County, south of Pisgah and Scottsboro, including Section and Dutton along Highway 40, for Sylvania and for Rainsville. There may be a lot more widespread wind than where an individual tornado would be. So anybody in this warning could have some wind damage because of winds that could get up over 60 to 80 miles per hour. The strong winds pulling through here could knock down a lot of trees, could knock out your electricity. And just as a reminder, this could also knock out some cell service, and that could hamper your ability to get additional warnings. So it's good to stay in touch with multiple ways. If you're only relying on a cell phone app or on wireless emergency alerts, then you're missing one critical step in this. It's a good idea to have a NOAA weather radio too for days like this, so that you have multiple ways to get a warning if this is extended. By the way, the storms that have been rolling through Madison County are not as heavy as they were at one time, but this is still a lot of heavy rain over saturated soil. So some flash flooding could be happening even though we don't have warnings up. There might be a road or two here that goes underwater temporarily, some streams that are swollen that could cause some temporary travel issues. And since it's dark and since there are a lot of power outages in Huntsville, good idea to just kind of stay put where you are. The strongest storm that we have on the map right now is in Jackson County, Marshall County, and DeKalb County. It's right here where all the counties come together. It's south of Scottsboro. It's west of Fort Payne, and it's very far to the northeast of the city of Guntersville now, and it's tracking to the east at close to 35 miles per hour. The possible tornado would be right about where my finger is, but there may be some strong winds even outside of where that is. So you see this fan. If you're in that, if your name pops up right here, you may be dealing with some strong wind in the next 45 minutes. Fife, Sylvania, Pine Ridge, Fort Payne, Adamsburg, and Fisher Crossroads. Alex, I'll toss over to you.
Yeah, Jason, not seeing anything new, which is good. We don't have that severe thunderstorm warning in Jackson County at this point, so that's good. We're down to just the one tornado warning for far northeastern Marshall, far southern Jackson County, and western DeKalb County. And again, Jason, as we've been saying, this looks more like, we'll pop the reflectivity back on. This looks more like a straight line wind threat at this point, with just that potential for something, a tornado to quickly develop with this storm. And certainly, if that's the case, we want you to be in your safe place. So if you're watching us in Section east of Grant in Marshall County, and then towards Fife and Rainsville, we want you in a safe place. But this just does not have the look that it did even when it was moving south of Huntsville, let alone what it looked like when it was moving through Calvert County. I do want to point out some good news. The latest report that we got from Morgan County EMA was they don't have any reports of damage. So we did have a report earlier of some damage in Morgan County. So maybe a little confusion there. Hopefully we got out of that without any damage. But we'll circle back around and bring you more information on that when we get it. And for some of this, it may be tomorrow morning when we find out for sure whether or not there's damage in some spots. That's just typically how this ends up usually working out. But again, the good news is that I would say the tornado threat over the past 30 minutes or so has gone down, but the straight line wind threat is still definitely there, and there's still that potential for a tornado. So we want you to take that seriously. I understand that we're talking more about straight line winds, but again, even if it is just straight line winds, that's still something that can cause significant damage. So we want you to get in a safe place regardless of that. So that's where we sit right now. Again, we have one warning. We don't have any more severe thunderstorm warnings, and in fact, for all of Mississippi and Alabama, it looks like we got one warning left, and it's this tornado warning that we've got for Marshall, Jackson, and DeKalb counties. But we're going to stick with this until we lose that. That's our policy here, and that's what we're going to stick to. So if you're watching us, south of section, especially in the far southern tip of Jackson County, far northeastern Marshall County, and far western DeKalb County, where everything sort of comes together there, that's where the biggest threat is right now for some strong winds and the potential for perhaps a tornado to pop up there. So that's something we'll watch. But even into section, probably some strong winds on the way right now. Jason?
All right, so tornado warning continues for DeKalb, for Jackson, and for the northeast corner of Marshall County. The rotation has tightened just a little bit, but it's still more of a course of least regret to go ahead and take shelter, because there are two threats here. One is strong straight line wind. The other does come from the fact that there could be a tornado that drops out of this at just about any moment. There have not been any damage reports coming out of Marshall County yet, but sometimes they can be delayed, especially if it's out in a very rural area. Sometimes these things can be doing damage out in large forested areas and then come up on a community 10 minutes later, and you will have no history of anything happening until it gets to that populated area. That's why we have the warning process the way it is, and that's why such large areas get warned for. So this is the track of the storm. It's moving to the east at about 35 miles per hour. That's going to get it close to Valley Head and Fort Payne between about, say, 8:49 and 9:05 p.m. So roughly in the next 35 to 40 minutes, this storm will be over in eastern DeKalb County, and this is probably going to be the last one that we have to contend with. You can see the heavy rain and storms are still going on in parts of Madison and Limestone, Morgan, Cullman, parts of Lawrence County and Franklin County. We still have some thunder and lightning out here, but these storms are not severe. They're developing in an environment that still has a lot of energy, but the overall severe threat is moving dynamically with the storm system farther to the east. Say that again. Okay, let's go over to Greg Screws. He has some of the damage reports that we've been tracking today so far.
All right, sounds good, Jason. Just yell when we need to come back to you. Just some other some damage points that we've got. Multiple trees down in Killingsworth Cove. That's out in Gurley. Austinville Road, Danville Road, but mainly Austinville Road. There's some damage, trees down, that sort of thing. A massive tree down in Austinville Road in James Street. That's over in Decatur. Also got anecdotally reports of businesses damaged down around Mooresville Road, and some debris near Parkway Medical in Decatur. And again, that's debris near Parkway Medical. I am not saying Parkway Medical is damaged. I'm just saying there is some debris near Parkway Medical. But that's pretty much it right now. We haven't seen anything yet to the scope of what Jason showed you in Tishomingo with that Family Dollar. We haven't seen anything like that here yet. That's not to say it's not out there, but we just haven't seen it yet. But the good news is, at this point, we don't seem to have anything like that. We got some trees down. We may have some businesses damaged, but that's kind of where we are right now, Jason.
All right, let's go over to Alex with an update at the desk.
Jason, we got some video in. This is from Dr. Barrett Gutter. He's a meteorologist at Mississippi State University, and he has some video from the Tishomingo tornado, and that's it. That's what went through Tishomingo, Mississippi, and then crossed into far western Calvert County today. That thing was massive, Jason. I mean, that is one of the bigger tornadoes you'll ever see. That thing was absolutely huge as it was moving through Mississippi. So that's what we had in far northeast Mississippi, moving to far western Calvert County today, and that's the damage it caused. That's the Dollar General in Tishomingo, and that is really significant damage. I mean, that Dollar General is destroyed. It did look like, I saw a picture on Twitter. I don't think we have it. It looked like this thing threw a car as well. At least one car, and then a tree blown over there. I don't know if that car behind the tree was blown into the tree or if it was just parked next to the tree and the tree fell on it. But obviously that was a very significant tornado. We hope that's the worst of it today. We hope that we're done and that's all we end up getting. That's the worst of what we see. But we do still have that tornado warning that's in effect. At this point, the storm appears to be moving out of Marshall County and is in southern Jackson County. But if you're watching us from section south and then east towards Rainsville and Sylvania, you need to get in a safe place right now. This is likely producing strong straight line winds and could produce a quick tornado, something could touch down very quickly. Fife, we want you to get in your safe place. The Weather Service in Huntsville just cleared Marshall and Jackson County from the warning, but I would say from section south in Jackson County, I would still want to be in a safe place for probably another 5 minutes. And then certainly still in western DeKalb County, you want to be in your safe place. Jason?
Right, and looking at the shear rate here, Alex, there are two spots that we're watching. One of these, the northernmost spot here, might be more straight line winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour coming through section, crossing over Highway 75 out here around Powell, close to Northeast Alabama Community College, right there near the Jackson-DeKalb County line. That will move towards Sylvania. This is the area where a tornado could develop, and look at that. Almost every time these things move up on the mountain from the valley, they start to intensify. That's why the warning was continued. And look at that. We've got a much stronger indication that a tornado could be developing close to Grove Oak, moving toward Fife and Rainsville. So communities like Fife and Rainsville, we've been talking about this all afternoon and all evening. The safest thing to do, be near the center of your home. If you don't have a basement, which I think is option number one, a basement or a storm shelter is your best bet. Down below the ground, in a small area where there are walls around you. You don't want to be in a basement where there's wide open space. You want to be in a small spot so that if there is damage, you're in the strongest, most well-built part of the home. The second option is an interior room in a site-built structure. That might be a hallway, or in this case, of this floor plan, a bathroom is the safest because there are so many walls that are around it providing some protection. If you live in a mobile home and you're in Rainsville, it's time to get out. It's time to go to shelter. If you're in Fife, you have less than 5 minutes before this thing is on top of you. I want you to be in a safe place in Fife along Highway 75 from Fife to Rainsville up to Sylvania. You're in the warning. Peaks Corner is right on the edge of it, but you notice Geraldine, White Dogtown, Adamsburg, we're not under a warning right now, but watch where this is going. I'll put the storm track on so that you can see the ultimate path of it, and we're going to use the velocity because I think that's giving us a better view right now than the reflectivity is of where the rotation is happening. So at about 35 miles per hour, this could be near downtown Fort Payne, right there, 853. Valley Head about 9:05. Blanche close to 9:06 in the Bankhead community around 9:11 p.m. You see, we get over here to Menlo. That's on the Georgia side of the state line. So Valley Head, Alpine, Fort Payne, Adamsburg, Blanche. Developing tornado right here on the Jackson-DeKalb County line. I think the National Weather Service has done a good job outlining the area where the greatest concern is. We'll go back to the storm relative velocity. Looks almost the same. And when those two look similar, you start to see some trouble developing. The shear rate very high right now. A strengthening storm, a strengthening rotation that is right on top of Gibson Crossroads. This may come very, very close to Fife High School. That's Fife High School right there where my finger is. So this tornado is moving toward Fife, especially the north side of the city of Fife, out here around Moore's Crossroads, Tin Brook. It's a little north of you, but if I'm in Tin Brook or Moore's Crossroads, I'm going to go ahead and be in my safe place. If you live in a mobile home along Highway 75 or Alabama Highway 35 in Rainsville, in Fife, or any point in between, I want you to be out of that mobile home in a site-built structure with walls surrounding you, a storm shelter There are lots of storm shelters around DeKalb County. The emergency managers have done a fantastic job of putting those out there for you to use when there's danger. And right now, that red spot is the spot. That is the only storm around that is severe at the moment, and it is coming toward Fife and Rainsville, and eventually, if it holds on to this, it'll move into Fort Payne. I'll show you the shear swath on it, and we'll get a look and see how long this thing has been rotating. You can see over southern Madison County into northern Marshall County. Then we lost some of the rotation as it descended off Grant Mountain down to the valley. Now that it's back up on sand, we've got that spot of higher rotation. This is most likely strong winds that are close to section on the north side of the storm. So there's likely going to be some wind out here that's beyond where the tornado would be. But this is a serious situation in DeKalb County, an intensifying circulation. Strong straight line winds are possible too. A messy look on the radar. It's not a classic look. If there's a tornado there, it may very well be wrapped in rain, but even the signature on radar is starting to look a little more supercellular again instead of that straight line wind look that we were looking at a little while ago. You got heavy rain falling in Rainsville. That again is Highway 35. This is Alabama Highway 75. Right there at the intersection, the heaviest rain is falling from about McDonald's up toward the county line, so pretty close to Northeast Alabama Community College. Section, the danger is over there. Dutton, the danger is over there from this storm. Still under a tornado watch, so the danger is not completely over until we're able to peel that watch away. But we're seeing a little bit more of a supercellular structure on radar, and that is almost covering this warning. That's almost a perfect looking tornado warning. It may end up having to be extended to Fort Payne and Fisher Crossroads, Valley Head and Adamsburg if it continues to maintain this circulation as it tracks toward the east. So strong winds in Sylvania. High winds along Highway 35, and by high wind, it may only be 40 or 50 miles per hour there. It just feels a lot higher than it really is. But that's our spot where a tornado could be developing near Fife, moving toward Rainsville at about 35 miles per hour. Around the rest of North Alabama, the threat is diminishing quite a bit. Severe weather threat not as high as it was earlier to the west of Huntsville. In Lauderdale County, we've even been able to drop the tornado watch, but the lightning output still there around Moulton. That's a heavy thunderstorm. There's still some heavy winds down here close to Smith Lake. There's some heavy rain falling in Madison County right now. We've got heavy rain in downtown Huntsville, a lot of lightning northeast of downtown, out toward the Ryland area. Killingsworth out, especially in South Huntsville. So with power outages and more heavy rain and lots of lightning in the area, just be mindful that there's no severe weather in Madison County right now. That is all to the east in DeKalb. And look at that lightning. This is